His mother stares intently at him, but doesn't see her son. Her eyes glide over his face as if it were a blank space. She cries with joy and applauds the thief on stage who has stolen everything. A name, a trophy, 5 years of life. And no one in the world remembers that the original ever existed. A second ago, Sonho was standing next to Zihao, smiling at him. They were a team. Now Zihao is hoisting the Iron Crown World Championship trophy above his head, and 18,000 voices are roaring his name. 5 million in prize money, 18 million subscribers, 3 corporate contracts. 3 minutes ago, all of this belonged to Sonho. Now it belongs to no one, because Sonho no longer exists. The team manager walks past and steps on his foot. He doesn't turn around. The cameraman swings the camera a centimeter from his face, and the monitor shows a blank frame. Sonho looks at his hands. They're still there. He looks at his hands. He touches his shoulder and feels it. So he exists. Then why doesn't the world notice? On the screen above the stage, Zihao, in his jacket and holding his trophy, speaks into the microphone, saying that this victory was always his, that the team relied on him. But Sonho remembers how 5 years ago he got that guy a visa. He remembers paying for his apartment in Gangnam. He remembers spending 3 nights in a row going over the timings with him because Zihao couldn't remember them. The world remembers nothing. The world looks at a thief and sees a champion. In Sonho's place, the world sees emptiness. And 20 minutes ago, the sky above Seoul cracked. The system descended upon humanity like a digital flood. Every survivor received a status window. Ranks from F to SSS, strength, mana, will, skills. Letters still burn in the temples of Sonho's head. Skill acquired, absolute oblivion, rank unknown, status defective, integration into reality canceled. He doesn't yet understand what that means, but his body already knows. A can of pear soda slips from his fingers and falls through the floor. It doesn't shatter. It doesn't roll. It just vanishes, like everything connected to him. Sonho approaches the front row of the stands. His mother is there. She's crying and clapping and telling the woman next to her that the guy on stage reminds her of someone important. Only she can't remember who.
Sonho freezes a meter away from her. She looks right through him. Not a spark, not a shadow of recognition. His mother has forgotten she has a son. He didn't die. He didn't disappear. He simply ceased to exist. And right then, something inside breaks. Not the heart. The heart would be too simple. The core itself breaks. That thing that tells a person they are real. Music roars over the arena and confetti rains through his body onto the floor. Zihao is already on stage telling a reporter about the contract with the Pentagon, about the deal with Samsung, about the guild bearing his name. Everything has been stolen down to the last comma, and no one will call it theft because no one remembers the original. Sonho turns and heads for the exit. The guard at the door doesn't see him. The door doesn't open. He walks through the metal and glass and the electronic lock. Nighttime Seoul hits his face with a damp wind and the smell of burning. The sky is split by cracks oozing violet light. The first rifts, the first portals, the first monsters. Somewhere to the east, something huge, and the houses tremble. The head-up display above Sonyo's head flashes, showing F rank. 100 base points, rock bottom, cannon fodder of the new world. He looks at the crack in the sky. He looks at his hands, which no camera in the city can see. He looks at the arena behind him, where the thief basks in his glory. And he speaks aloud, quietly, calmly, knowing that no microphone will record this. Fine. Then I'll become the one you can't forget without paying. The first night of the rift, Sonho sits on the roof of a 12-story building in Gwangjin and watches Seoul burn. A status window hangs before his eyes. Rank F, Strength 10, Agility 12, Mana 8,
Willpower 70. Skill, absolute oblivion. Description blocked. Instead of a description, there is a string of characters he cannot read. Below, the city is engulfed in chaos. From the rift in Canham, creatures resembling a cross between a dog and a centipede crawl out. The Hounds of the Lair, E rank, 300 units each. 3 of these would tear an F rank apart in a second. But something is happening. Sonho feels it like a pulse at the back of his neck, a slight jolt every few minutes, as if someone is trying to break down a door that's been welded shut. A jolt. Another one. He opens the window. Strength 10. No.
Strength 100. He blinks. Strength 1000. The thud at the back of his head hits harder. Somewhere in the city, 18 million people are trying to remember which team won the championship. They try and can't. The name is erased. The face is erased. 5 years of streams and covers have simply been wiped clean. Every attempt to remember hits a wall, and the multiplier kicks in again. 10,000. Strength 10,000. Another jolt. 100,000. The numbers are growing so fast that the system can't keep up with updating the window. The rank flashes. F-E-D-A, jump. And by dawn, Sonho's mother will wake up in the apartment she now considers Zihao's. She'll try to remember her son's face, and she won't be able to. And the multiplier will strike again. 10,000 for a single thought from his mother. For a single erased photograph in a frame where there is now an empty space. For a single name she will mispronounce, then correct herself and forget that she corrected it. Sonho sits on the roof and listens to the city scream. He is no longer part of this world, but the numbers are rising, and he memorizes every one. 7:14 a.m. Sonho knows the exact time because the system records every jump. His mother wakes up in her apartment in Gangnam and sits up in bed. Sonho stands in the corner of the room. He came here through the wall, literally through the wall. Someone who doesn't exist doesn't need a door. His mother looks at the nightstand. There is a picture frame there. The photograph is empty. Yesterday, he was there. She picks up the frame, brings it to her eyes, furrows her brow. Something is trying to break through. Sonho can see it in her lips, which begin to form a syllable. Cha. No. She puts the frame back. She stands up. She goes to the kitchen. The multiplier activates. The status window flashes before Sonho's eyes. Plus 10,000 to the multiplier. Total power, 1 million BE. Rank D is upgraded to C. One thought from his mother. One failed attempt to remember. And he became 1,000 times stronger than he was a minute ago. His mother turns on the TV. On the screen, Zihao is giving an interview. He sits in the studio wearing Sonho's jacket and talks about how he built Black Halo from scratch, how he assembled the team, how he trained 14 hours a day. His mother smiles at the screen. What a fine young man, she says aloud. He looks like someone important. I can't remember. The multiplier again. 10 million BE. Sonho stands a meter away from his mother, his fists clenched so tightly that his nails cut into his palms. Blood drips onto the floor. His mother doesn't see the blood. The blood dissolves without touching the surface. He unclenches his fingers, breathes steadily, counts to 3, walks through the wall back into morning Seoul. The city is changed overnight. Fissures hang over the districts like wounds in the sky. A purple light pulses. On the streets, patrols of hunters with tags ranging from D to B. Every citizen now wears a glowing letter above their head. F ranks huddle against the walls. C ranks walk down the center of the sidewalk. A single B rank walks in the street, and cars drive around him. A new world, new rules. Sonho's head tag flickers so faintly it's impossible to read. The system doesn't know what to do with him. Formally, he's an F rank. Inside, 10 million base units, growing every second. He passes through a patrol of 4 D rank hunters. They don't see him.
One of them flinches and turns around.
It felt like something, he says to his partner, like the wind. His partner shrugs. What wind? It's 32 degrees. Sonho moves on. The system's navigator shows a rift in the Mapo area, E rank, the weakest type. Sonho heads toward it. He needs to understand what he's capable of. The rift hangs over the intersection like a hole in wet paper. The smell of rotten iron wafts from it. A group of hunters stands nearby. 5 people, 3 D rank and 2 C rank. They're preparing for a sweep. They discuss tactics. They check their gear. Sonho walks past them and enters the rift. No one notices. Inside is a dark corridor of black stone. The floor is wet. The walls breathe. 30 meters in, the first monster, a layer hound, E rank, 300 HP. A creature the size of a calf with 6 legs and a mouth that opens in 4 directions. It turns its head towards Sonho, sniffs, stares right through him. It doesn't see him. It turns away. It walks deeper into the corridor. Sonho stands a meter away from the monster, and the monster doesn't notice him. He raises his hand. He extends his fingers. He touches the hound's withers, and the world around the point of contact begins to blur. The creature's fur becomes transparent. Then its skin. Then its bones. The hound doesn't howl, doesn't twitch. It simply ceases to exist. Like a word being erased from paper with an eraser. Letter by letter. 1 second. 2. 3. An empty space. The system issues a notification. Class E creature destroyed. Method, erasure. Time, 3.2 seconds. Experience points awarded. Sonho looks at his fingers. They aren't trembling. He killed a living creature with a single touch and felt nothing. No recoil, no resistance, no heat. As if he'd turned off a lamp. He moves on. 4 hounds. A touch. Emptiness. 3 more. A touch. Emptiness. 8 minutes. The entire rift has been cleared. 11 E-rank monsters have been wiped out. The system closes the rift and issues a standard alert to the city. The rift in the Mapo district has been eliminated. The hunters outside exchange glances. They didn't go in. They were just preparing. One of the C-rank hunters checks the system 3 times. Someone cleared the rift in 8 minutes. Who? No data. No logs. No name. An empty report. He shows the screen to his partner. The partner looks at the blank lines and silently sheathes his sword. A system glitch.
Probably. Definitely a glitch. Sonho stands next to them and almost smiles. Almost. The smile won't come. Too little time has passed since this morning, since 7:14 a.m., when his mother didn't remember his name. He turns and walks toward the next rift. There are 9 of them in the city. By evening, there will be 6. By nightfall, 4. Hunters all over Seoul will be scratching their heads and rereading empty logs. And Sonho will be sitting on the roof with a can of Chilsong pear soda that he stole from the store. He stole it because the cashier can't see him. Money is useless to a ghost. He looks at the city at dusk and opens the status window. His rank flashes between the letters. S-V-A. 18 million former subscribers. Each of them has stumbled upon an empty space where their name used to be at least once today. None of them could remember. 18 million multipliers in a single day. The power numbers have gone beyond the screen's limits. The system begins to display them in scientific notation. Then it stops displaying them altogether. It simply displays the infinity symbol and an error sign next to it. Sonho drinks Chilsung, sweet, pear-flavored.
A taste from childhood. The only thing that hasn't changed. He sets the can on the parapet, where down below, a Crown Guild patrol is walking down the street. Their patches bear the name Zihao. Crown Guild. Head. Liu Zihao, hero of New Seoul. Sonho finishes his Chilsong and sets the empty can down neatly. I'll find you. Not today,
Not tomorrow, when the numbers get big enough for you to feel it. Down below, one of the patrolmen flinches. He turns around, looks up at the roof. Nothing. An empty roof. An empty can on the parapet. The wind. The third day of the rift. The sole rift in the Yonsan district hangs over the city like a festering wound. Rank B. 3 waves of monsters poured out of it overnight, and 42 hunters of ranks D through B were killed. The Crown Guild has announced a mop-up operation. Zihao is streaming from the command center in Crown Tower. He sits in a leather-upholstered chair. The guild's logo is on the wall behind him. On his wrist is a Sonho watch, a Swiss chronograph that Sonho bought after his first major tournament. Zihao wears it with the face facing inward, a habit Sonho's, a stolen habit. 200,000 viewers on the stream.
Zihao gives orders in a voice accustomed to commanding a company of recruits, 60 men, D and E ranks. He sends them into the rift as the first wave, cannon fodder, bait. Cannon fodder meant to draw the monster's attention while the B rank strike force flanks them. Zihao's standard tactic. Other people's lives for his own points. Sonho stands in the corner of the command center, invisible, inaudible. He watches as Zihao sends people to their deaths with a smile for the camera. Next to Zihao is a girl, Park Minju, Sonho's ex-girlfriend, now Zihao's girlfriend. She hands him coffee and laughs at his joke. Sonho looks at her for 3 seconds, turns away. Not now, not yet. He walks through the wall and heads toward the rift. Chaos in the streets. 60 recruits are lined up at the portal entrance, young, frightened. D and E rank tags flicker above their heads. One of them has trembling hands. He's no older than 20. The squad commander, a C rank veteran with weary eyes, counts the heads and realizes that half of them won't return. But an order is an order. The Crown Guild pays, and the Crown Guild decides. The recruits enter the rift. Sonho follows them in. Inside is a B-rank lair, a cave system made of crystalline black stone. Ceilings 30 meters high. The air vibrates with the presence of something enormous. The recruits advance in formation. The first creature bursts out of a side tunnel. A Steel Reaper. C-rank, 20,000 BE. A creature like a mantis made of black metal with sickle-shaped blades instead of forelimbs. It decapitates the first hunter before anyone has a chance to raise a weapon. A scream. Blood on the walls. The formation breaks. Panic. Sonho snaps his fingers. The Steel Reaper freezes. Its body becomes transparent from the edges. A second. An empty space. The recruits look where the C-rank creature had just been standing and see nothing. One of them steps where the monster had been. Empty floor beneath his foot. What happened? No one knows. The commander checks the battle log. Empty. Creature destroyed. Method. No data. Time. 0.8 seconds. He swallows hard and leads the group on. 3 more Steel Reapers. Sonho walks ahead of the group as an invisible vanguard. A touch. Emptiness. A touch. Emptiness. A touch. Emptiness. The recruits begin to look around nervously. The monsters are simply vanishing. One by one. Without a fight. Without a trace. Someone mutters that the rift is defective. Someone whispers about divine intervention. The commander remains silent, counting the empty logs. The central chamber of the lair, a space the size of a stadium. And there it is, in the center, the 9-headed jackal, rank A+, 4,800,000 BE, a creature as tall as a 9-story building. 9 heads on flexible necks, each with its own set of eyes and fangs. Its body is covered in armor made of bone plates. Its tail ends in a mace that leaves a crater in the floor with every strike. The recruits freeze. The commander turns pale. This isn't their level. This isn't the level B rank rift.
The system is wrong, or someone deliberately underestimated it. The jackal turns 3 heads toward the group. It growls. The sound is like an avalanche. Stone dust crumbles from the ceiling. One of the recruits drops to his knees. Another turns and runs. The commander grabs his radio and yells over the crown frequency that this is an A-plus situation. We need evacuation. We need backup. Silence. Zihao on stream puts a finger to his ear. He puts on a thoughtful expression.
He tells the camera that the situation is under control, that his hunters will handle it, that he believes in the team. He doesn't call for reinforcements. 200,000 viewers type in the chat that Zihao is a great leader. The jackal swishes its tail. 2 recruits are sent flying into the wall. 1 doesn't get up. 9 heads open their mouths in unison. 9 streams of black energy. If they converge at a single point, nothing will remain of the group. Sonho steps forward. He stands between the jackal and the recruits. The jackal doesn't see him. 4,800,000 BE can't see the one with 48 billion. Sonho raises his right hand, spreads his fingers, snaps. The sound is dry and quiet, like the click of a switch. The 9-headed jackal stops. All 9 mouths close simultaneously. The A-plus monster's body begins to disintegrate, not into pieces, into pixels, into data cubes that melt into the air like snowflakes over a bonfire. From bottom to top, paws, body, necks, heads, one after another. 0.3 seconds. System notification. A-plus class creature destroyed. Method, no data. Time, 0.3 seconds. Experience points awarded. Title stolen. Silence. Absolute silence in the lair chamber. The recruits stand and stare at the empty space where a creature the size of a house had just been. The commander drops the radio. It hits the rock, and the sound echoes through the cave. One of the young recruits quietly asks, "What just happened?" No one answers. Something strange is happening on Zihao's stream. The camera inside the rift briefly showed the empty lair chamber. No monster, no battle, no logs. 200,000 viewers see the blank screen and start spamming questions. Zihao turns pale. He switches the camera. He says there's a technical glitch. The Crown Guild analyst behind him opens the rift log and sees a single line. A-plus creature destroyed in 0.3 seconds by an unknown source. She reads the line 3 times. She looks up at Zihao. Zihao isn't looking at her. He's busy with the camera. At the Korean Rank Council's central office in Yoido, analyst Jong E-gyong sits in front of 6 monitors, drinking her 4th cup of coffee this morning. She is 34. She hasn't slept in 2 days. Her screens display data from all of Seoul's fissures. And for the 2nd day in a row, she sees the same anomaly. The fissures close before registered groups can enter them. The sweep logs are empty. The monsters vanish without a trace. E rank, C rank, now A+, in 0.3 seconds. She opens a new file, types the title, Anomaly 0, Subject unknown, Rank undetermined, Method undetermined, Recommendation, no recommendation. She leans back in her chair and whispers, "This isn't a hunter. This is a category we don't have." Meanwhile, Sonho emerges from the fault and walks through Seoul at night. Status. The window displays a new hidden rank, S. He isn't happy. He thinks of the 60 recruits Zihao sent to their deaths.
of the guy who didn't stand against the wall, of the commander who shouted into the radio and received only silence in response. Zhao feeds people to the fissures, for points, for rank, for a camera. Sonho stops on the Mapo Bridge and looks at the lights of the Crown Tower on the other side. The tower glows with Zhao's logo. He memorizes every floor. Day 5. Zhao holds a press conference at Crown Tower. 300 journalists. Live broadcast to 12 countries. He stands behind the podium in a suit by an Italian designer and announces that the Crown Guild is taking control of all soul fissures of rank B and above. A private monopoly on cleanup. The Korean Rank Council resists, but the council has 4 S-rank hunters, while Crown has 12. Zhao bought them, every single one. Contracts, money, promises. He tells the camera that this is for the safety of the citizens, that the Crown Guild is the only force capable of protecting Seoul. Applause. His approval rating is 73%, higher than the government's. Sonho stands behind the journalists and listens. He listens to every word, every stolen inflection. Zhao copies his manner of speaking, pauses in the same places, the same gestures, even the habit of touching his bridge of the nose before answering a difficult question. For 5 years, Zhao watched Sonho like a parasite watches its host. He memorized everything, and now he wears his persona like a second suit. A journalist from the front rows asks a question: how Zhao copes with such pressure. He smiles and says he has always been alone at the top. That pressure is a privilege of the strong. Zhao is rank A. Base units, 3,200,000. A public figure, a serious one, in Korea's top 10. But Sonho sees something else. He sees that half of those points were earned through sacrifices, through the killing of weak hunters in the rifts. The system awards points for clearing rifts, but Zhao found a loophole. If a hunter dies in a rift being cleared by the Crown Group, part of their experience goes to the guild leader. Zhao doesn't clear the fissures. He clears people. The press conference ends. The journalists disperse. Sonho remains in the empty hall. He approaches the podium. On the surface is Zhao's palm print. Sonho places his hand on top of it. His hand passes through the wood. A ghost. But a ghost with 48 billion base points. He walks through the back wall and finds himself in the Crown Tower corridor. 72 floors. Laboratories, server rooms, living quarters for S-rank hunters. On the 53rd floor, the guild's operations center. Sonho passes through doors and walls. Security doesn't see him. The cameras record blank footage. He finds what he was looking for on the 61st floor, the lieutenant's office. 3 people at a table with a holographic screen. Park Tae-yun, B rank, recruitment specialist. He is the one who recruits new recruits to be fed to the rifts. A quiet man in glasses with the voice of an accountant. He has sent 312 hunters to certain death in the rifts with underrated rankings. Kang Dong-ho, B rank plus, head of Crown's security division, former military officer, broad shoulders, a scar across his left eyebrow. He commands S-rank mercenaries and personally leads operations to suppress hunters who attempt to break free from the guild's control. He has 16 murders to his name, disguised as casualties in the fissures. An Soo-yun, A rank minus, analyst and financier. She manages Crown's rank-based economy. She buys experience points from desperate hunters at a discounted price, resells to Zhao. She builds a pyramid where the weak feed the strong. 3 lieutenants, 3 pillars of the guild, 3 targets. Sonho memorizes their names, their ranks, the layout of their offices, their shift schedules, their routes, security. He spends 4 hours in Crown Tower as an invisible observer and learns more than any spy would in a month. Then he leaves, returns to his rooftop in Gwangjin, opens Chilson, makes plans. Day 7, night,
Park Tae-yeon returns home after a 12-hour shift at Crown Tower, an apartment in the Guild residential complex. 23rd floor, security at the entrance. 2 D-rank fighters at the door. Class B alarm system. Serious security for an accountant. He's nervous. Strange errors have been appearing in the system for the last 2 days. Recruitment files are losing records. The names of recruited hunters are disappearing from the databases, as if someone is erasing the logs. Taeyeon attributes it to the system's instability. He sits down at the desk, opens his laptop. On the screen is the database of the next batch of recruits to be sent to the Rift. 40 names, ages 18 to 25, ranks E and F, disposable. Taeyeon scans the list and makes notes. Suitable, suitable, unsuitable, too old, suitable. He sorts people like goods on a conveyor belt. The light in the apartment flickers. Taeyeon looks up. The lamp is burning steadily. It was just his imagination. He returns to the list. The names on the screen begin to blur. The letters fade. Taeyeon rubs his eyes. Fatigue. But the letters keep disappearing. One name after another. The list of 40 lines turns into 30, 20, 10. A blank screen. Tian grabs the phone and calls the server room. The line is dead. He gets up from his desk. He walks to the door. The door won't open. Taeyeon jiggles the handle. He pounds on the panel. Nothing. He turns around. The apartment looks different. The photos on the wall have faded. His certificates on the shelf are losing their text. The letters are disappearing. One by one. His name on the guild pass is fading. Taeyeon looks at his hands. The rank badge above his head flickers. B, no. C, D, E, F. His rank is dropping. Base points are draining away like water. 100,000, 50,000, 10, 1,000, 100. He screams. No one hears him. The guards at the door don't remember who they're guarding. One turns to the other and asks why they're standing at this door. The second shrugs. They leave. Taeyeon falls to his knees. His body becomes translucent. The system issues a notification. Rank F Hunter number 4,120,561 has been removed from the registry. Reason? Non-existence. Titles redirected to the Mirror Reserve. Taeyeon vanishes. In his place is an empty apartment. Empty, as if no one had ever lived there. Morning, Crown Tower. Kang Dong-ho enters the operations center and asks where Taeyeon is. No one knows who he's talking about. Which Taeyeon? Who are you talking about? Dong-ho furrows his brow. He remembers they had 3 lieutenants. Now there are 2, but he can't remember the third. The name slips away. The face is blurred, as if looking at a screen with 0 brightness. He blames it on stress, too much work, not enough sleep. 3 days later, day 10. Kang Dong-ho can't sleep himself. Someone is deleting the security department's files. Operation logs are disappearing. Suppression reports. The list of eliminated hunters. Someone is undermining him, and he can't figure out who. He beefs up security to 4 S-rank fighters. He replaces the door lock with a system lock featuring A-class biometrics. Cameras in every corner. Sonho stands in his apartment and watches as Dong-ho checks the cameras. The cameras don't record Sonho. He is there, but he isn't. Sonho waits until 2 in the morning. Dong-ho falls asleep in a chair with a weapon on his lap. An A-rank energy blade. A serious weapon. A useless weapon. Sonho approaches. He touches the back of the chair. The fading begins slowly. Dong-ho wakes up. He looks at his hands. His fingers are turning transparent. He grabs the blade. He swings it. The blade passes through Sonho as if through air. Dong-ho screams. The cameras record an empty frame. The S-rank guards behind the door hear the scream, but don't remember whose it is. They don't remember why they're standing here. They disperse. Dong-ho stares into the void before him and sees nothing.
His opponent is invisible, inaudible, invulnerable. A B-plus rank tries to strike something 10,000 times stronger. His fist passes through empty space. Dongho is rank F. Donho is nobody. Donho does not exist, the system confirms. Day 10. 2 of the 3 lieutenants have been erased. Zihao sits in his office on the 72nd floor and senses that something is wrong. He cannot remember the names of his 2 closest aides. There were 3. 1 remains, An Su-young. But who were the other 2? He looks at the wall with photos of Crown's leadership. 2 empty spaces in the frames. Who was there? Zihao rubs his temples. His head aches.
Something is happening, something invisible, and that something is approaching. Day 11. Am Su-yan enters Zihao's office with a report. Her hands are shaking. She is the only one of the 3 lieutenants who still exists, and she doesn't know she was one of 3. In her memory, she has always been the only one. But the numbers don't add up. Crown's financial flows show 3 expense channels for 3 departments. 2 departments don't exist. Of the flows lead into a void. Money is going to salaries for people who aren't on the payroll, to operations that no one remembers, to equipment sitting in rooms with no owners. Su-yan shows Zihao the charts. 30% of Crown's budget is spent on nothing. Zihao looks at the charts and his face hardens. He's no fool. He's a parasite and a thief, but he's no fool. 2 empty spaces on the wall. 2 non-existent departments. 30% of the budget down the drain. Someone is erasing his people. Not killing, not kidnapping, erasing. Like a file from a hard drive. Zihao closes the office door. He activates the S-rank communication jammer. He sits down across from Su-young and tells her that from this moment on, she is not leaving Crown Tower. 4 S-rank hunters at her door around the clock. Cameras on every corner. No business trips. No solo outings. Su-young asks what he's protecting her from. Zihao is silent. He doesn't know himself, but he feels it. That parasite instinct that had helped him read Songho's mood for 5 years. Something is hunting him. Something he cannot see. The next morning, he calls a press and announces that the Crown Guild is detecting anomalous activity of an unknown type in Seoul. He calls it the Ghost Anomaly. He proposes a joint operation to the Korean Council of Ranks to capture the unknown creature that is destroying hunters without leaving a trace. The council agrees. Because Jong E-gyung has been knocking on the director's door for 2 days with the Anomaly 0 file, and she is finally heard. The 12th day. An emergency meeting of the Rank Council. A room on the 20th floor of a building in Yeouido. 12 council members around a round table. 4 S-rank hunters stand against the walls. Holographic screens display data. Jong E-gyung stands before them and reports. In the 11 days since the schism, 23 cases of anomalous monster destruction with no registered source have been recorded in Seoul. The ranks of the destroyed creatures range from E to A+. The time of destruction ranges from 0.1 to 3.2 seconds. The logs are empty. Cameras are recording blank frames. Not a single status scanner has detected a presence in the anomaly zones. At the same time, 2 cases of registered hunters completely vanishing from the system's registry have been recorded. Their names have been erased from all databases. Their colleagues cannot recall their faces. Their apartments are empty, as if they never existed. Igyeon pauses. She looks at the council. "This isn't a monster," she says. "Monsters don't erase people from memory. This is not a skill of any known category. It is something beyond our classification." One of the council members asks what rank she estimates. Igyeon is silent for 3 seconds. Then she speaks. "I cannot estimate a rank because the creature is not on our scale. To destroy an A+ monster in 0.3 seconds, you need to surpass it by at least 10,000 times in base units. This means we're talking about a creature with stats in the range of 48 billion BU. An S-rank hunter has a maximum of 100 million. An SS-rank hunter has about 10 billion. This subject is stronger than any recorded creature on the planet, including Class A rift monsters. Silence. One of the S-rank hunters by the wall swallows hard. Igion continues, and it is invisible. The council votes to classify the threat as Category Red, the highest level, for the first time in the system's history. Sonho stands in the corner of the hall. He hears every word. He looks at Igion and, for the first time in 11 days, feels something other than cold. Respect. She found him by the numbers, not by his face, not by his name, by the gap he leaves in the data. A smart woman, a dangerous woman. He memorizes her and walks through the wall. Something unexpected awaits him outside. A girl is standing at the entrance to the council building. 19 years old, skinny, dark circles under her eyes, a crumpled photograph in her hands. In the photograph is her twin sister, So Hyun, an E-rank hunter, sent to the Rift 13 days ago under a contract with the Crown Guild. She never returned. Her name is on Taewon's lists that no longer exist. The girl's name is So Yuri. She came to the Council of Ranks to demand an investigation. They wouldn't let her in. She stands there and waits. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4. No one pays her any attention. She's F rank. Base points, 80. Lower than expendable supplies. More transparent than the air in this world where the number above your head determines your right to speak. Sonho walks past her, and Yuri lifts her head, not abruptly, slowly, as if she'd felt a draft. She looks in his direction. Her eyes are slightly unfocused, as if she's trying to make out something at the edge of her vision. A silhouette, a blurry spot. She sees him. Not entirely, not clearly, but she sees him. Sonho freezes. For the first time in 11 days, someone is looking in his direction and sees at least something. Yuri squints, opens her mouth, tries to say something. Sonho takes a step back, then another. If she says his name, the stack will reset. 48 billion BE will turn into 100. He'll become an F rank in the middle of a city where B rank beasts are crawling out of the fissures. He'll die in a second. Yuri closes her mouth. She doesn't know his name. She can't know it. But her twin sister somehow remembers fragments. Twins share memories. Hyun saw Sonyo in the rift before she died. She saw a silhouette. She remembered a shadow. And that shadow remained somewhere at the bottom of the two sisters' shared memory. Yuri doesn't know who she's looking at. She just knows there's someone here. Sonyo stands 10 meters away from her, weighing the risks. This girl can partially see him. That's dangerous. Anyone capable of seeing him could accidentally trigger a memory, accidentally say his name, accidentally erase everything. But this girl is looking for her sister, the sister whom Zihao killed. Their goals coincide. Sonyo stands. He thinks. Yuri waits. She looks at the blurry spot 10 meters away and doesn't look away. Patient. Stubborn. She waited at the council's doors for 4 hours for her sister's sake. She'll stand there for another 4 if she has to. Sonyo makes a decision. He moves closer. 5 meters. 3. 2. Yuri sees the silhouette a little more clearly. The contours of his shoulders. The line of his chin. Dark eyes. He raises his hand and writes with his finger in the air in front of her face. 3 symbols. Z, How, Crown. Yuri reads. Her eyes widen. She understands. Someone invisible knows the name of the man who sent her sister to her death.
Someone invisible has come to her. Yuri nods slowly. Sonho turns away. He leaves. Yuri watches him go. The blurred silhouette dissolves into the stream of people who cannot see him. She clutches her sister's photograph. Her hands no longer tremble. On the other side of the city, Zihao sits in his office on the 72nd floor of Crown Tower, staring at the screen. The Council of Ranks has officially declared a hunt for the anomaly ghost. 200 hunters from B and above are deployed. S-rank search teams are combing the faults. Analysts are monitoring every log. The full might of the state and the guilds has been thrown into the search for the creature currently standing on the roof of the neighboring building, drinking a pear chilson. Zihao closes the screen. He opens his private messages. He types a message on an encrypted channel. Recipient, Council of 9 Crowns. Text, we have a problem. I need an SS rank specialist.
Subject, elimination of the invisible.
Somewhere in Tibet, in a fortress carved into the rock at an altitude of 6,000 meters above sea level, a woman in a white robe opens her eyes. She has been asleep for 7 years. The system displays a notification before her. Anomalous activity, sector, Korea, type, eradication, threat level, undetermined. Beck Sonim, SSS rank, closes the notification and closes her eyes again. It's too early. Let the boy play a little longer. She smiles, subtly, like someone who hasn't smiled in a long time and has forgotten how to do it properly. Sonho finishes his chill song on the roof and looks at Crown Tower. The 13th day in 2 days. An Soo-yun, the last lieutenant. Then Zihao himself. He places the empty can on the parapet, next to 2 others. 3 cans in a row, like 3 names crossed out. The 13th day, 2 in the morning. An Soo-yun sits in her office on the 53rd floor of Crown Tower and can't sleep. 4 S-rank hunters outside the door, cameras in every corner, a biometric security lock. She is in the most secure place in Seoul, and she is afraid. The numbers on her screen haven't added up for 3 days now.
The Crown financial system is falling apart. Contracts with hunters no one remembers. Payroll records for empty names. Equipment registered to non-existent departments. 2 ghosts within the guild structure. 2 people who were there and are no longer there. Soo-yun is smart. She is the only one of the 3 lieutenants who rose not through force, but through intellect. A minus rank, 2,400,000 BE. The analytical network skill allows her to see financial flows as a 3-dimensional map. And on this map, there are 2 huge black spots. 2 gaps in the fabric of the guild. She doesn't remember who was there, but she sees the holes. Soo-yun rises from the table. She walks to the window. Nighttime Seoul lies below. The rifts pulsate purple. Crown patrols on the streets. 200 hunters are searching for the ghost anomaly. They won't find it. Sonho stands 2 meters behind her. He arrived an hour ago. He passed through 4 S-rank hunters. Through the cameras. Through the lock. He stands and waits. Soo-yun turns away from the window. She walks to the desk. She sits down. She opens a file. The list of the next batch of recruits for the fissures. 28 names. Children, E-ranks, F-ranks, cannon fodder for Zihao's machine. Soo-yun signs the dispatch order. The pen touches the screen. An electronic signature. 28 lives for 28,000 experience points for the guild leader. The accounting of death. Sonho looks at the signature. She looks at the list. She looks at Soo-yun. He could erase her right now. A touch. A second. An empty chair. But he's in no hurry. He needs to take something first. He approaches her desk. Invisible, inaudible. He reads the files over her shoulder. Crown's financial structure. Supply channels. Connections to external guilds. Names of high-ranking buyers. Crazy money. $300 million in 13 days. Blood money built on the bones of E-rank boys. Sonho memorizes everything. Every number, every name, every route. Then he touches the corner of the desk. Not Soo-yeon, the table. The erasure begins slowly. The corner of the table becomes transparent. Soo-yeon doesn't notice. She's gone to get coffee. The table continues to melt away. The files on the holographic screen flicker. The data begins to vanish. Not all of it, only the data related to the orders to send out the new recruits. Sonho isn't erasing a person. He's erasing the system. So-yeon returns with coffee. She sees the translucent table. She drops the cup. Hot coffee spills across the floor. She backs toward the door. The table vanishes completely. Along with it, the holographic screen, the database, the financial reports, everything that made up Crown's lifeblood. So-yeon pounds on the door panel. She screams for security. 4 S-rank fighters burst into the office. They see an empty room. The desk was here a minute ago. It's gone. The chair, the cabinets, the safe, everything has vanished. Bare walls and floor. Soo-yeon stands in the middle of the emptiness, trembling. She points to the center of the room and screams that someone is here. The hunters activate their status scanners. They scan the room. Clear. No one. Empty. One of the S-rank fighters shakes his head. Empty, he says. Soo-yeon screams that it isn't empty, that she can feel it. Something is here. Something is erasing it. A hunter looks at her with pity. Stress, he says to his partner. Analysts are the first to break down. Soo-yeon falls silent. She realizes they don't believe her. She turns toward the center of the room and speaks into the void. I know you're here. I don't know who you are, but I know you're here. Silence. Sonho stands a meter away from her and says nothing. Soo-yeon waits for an answer. She gets none. The hunters lead her to a secure room on the 72nd floor, to Zihao. Soo-yeon enters Zihao's office and tells him that Crown Tower has been compromised, that an invisible entity is inside the building, that it's erasing not people, but infrastructure, databases, equipment, physical objects. Zihao listens, and his expression changes. Not fear, rage. He slams his fist on the table. The table cracks. 3,200,000 BE in a single blow. He orders the evacuation of key data to external servers, to put S-rank agents on round-the-clock duty, to activate all the building's defensive skills. For 6 hours, Crown Tower turns into a fortress. Barriers on every floor. Scans every 30 seconds. Patrols of 3 S-ranks in a squad. Sonho sits on the windowsill of the 70th floor and watches the anthill bustle. Barriers don't work against someone who doesn't exist. Scanners can't see someone whose hologram is dead. The patrols pass by. S-ranks, 100 million BE each. Sonho is 48,000 times stronger than any of them. Their attacks will pass through him like wind through smoke. He waits. The bustle dies down by morning. Zihao sends Soo-yeon to the Crown Outpost in Incheon, under the guard of 8 S-ranks, an armored convoy, 3 cars, an escort helicopter. Seriously. Sonho climbs onto the roof of the second car. The convoy leaves Seoul via the expressway. 8 S-ranks inside. Skills activated. Barriers around the vehicles. Sonho lies on the roof and looks up at the sky. The rifts above the horizon pulsate. Beautiful. If only he cared about beauty. Incheon, Crown Base, a former port cargo terminal converted into a fortified bunker. Soo-yeon gets out of the car. Security surrounds her. They lead her inside. Sonho follows. Soo-yeon sits down at a new terminal. She begins restoring data from backups. Her fingers fly over the keys. She's smart. Fast. 2 hours later, half of Crown's financial system is restored. Sonho stands behind her, waiting for her to finish. He needs her to gather all the data in one place. All the dirty files, all the hit orders, all the payroll records. Suyan works for another 3 hours, restores everything, checks for integrity, saves it. Perfect. Sonho reaches out, touches the server. The erasure begins from the hard drive. The data disappears. It isn't damaged. It isn't encrypted. It disappears, as if it had never existed. Soyeon watches the screen go dark. She turns toward the server. The server is transparent. She screams. S-rank agents rush in. The server vanishes. The backups vanish. The terminal vanishes. Soyeon stands before an empty desk with her palms in the air above a keyboard that is no longer there. She understands. It had been following them, from Crown Tower, through the entire convoy, through 8 S-rankers, through the barriers. It had been here from the very beginning. Suyeon slowly lowers her hands. She is no longer screaming. She is calm, with the kind of calm that comes when a person realizes there is nowhere to run. She speaks into the void. You wiped out the other two. Now me. Silence. Suyeon closes her eyes. I won't run. Do what you came here to do. Sonho looks at her. 3 seconds. 5. He doesn't touch her. He touches her head mark. The rank above her head flashes. A-, B, C, D. Suyeon opens her eyes. She looks at her hands. They're still there. She isn't disappearing. But her rank is falling. Her base units are draining away. 2 million. 1 million. 500,000. 100,000. 10. 1,000. 100. F rank. But she's here. She exists. She remembers her name. Sonho isn't erasing her. He's erasing her power, her connection to Crown, her titles. Crown Financier, Lieutenant, Analyst. Everything vanishes from the holotag. What remains is An Suyeon, F rank, 80 BE, an ordinary person. S-rank hunters look at her and don't understand why they're here. Why guard an F rank? Who she even is? Suyeon stands in the middle of the bunker and feels a sense of lightness for the first time in 13 days. The terrible lightness of a person who has had everything taken away and has nothing left to lose. She walks out of the bunker. No one stops an F rank. She walks along the road toward Incheon, alone. The morning of the 14th day, Crown Tower. Zihao receives a report. An Suyeon has left the base. F rank. Communication lost. Data destroyed. All data. Crown's financial system is dead. Orders to recruit new recruits have been erased. Payroll records have been erased. Contracts with S-rank mercenaries have been erased. Zihao stands at the window of his office on the 72nd floor and looks out at the city. 3 lieutenants, all 3. 1 erased from reality. The 2nd erased from reality. The 3rd stripped of her rank and released. Why released? Why not erased like the rest? Zihao doesn't understand. He doesn't know that Sonho spared her life not out of mercy, but because a living witness who remembers that Crown is built on bones is more terrifying than a dead one. Suyeon will speak. Suyeon will tell. Not today, not tomorrow, but she will tell because she has nothing left to lose and no one to fear. Zihao opens an encrypted channel, a message from the Council of 9 Crowns, a response to his request from 3 days ago. The text is brief. A specialist is on the way. SS rank. Han Yiju. Arrival in 2 days. Recommendation: do not interfere until her arrival. Zihao closes the screen and smiles for the first time in 13 days. SS rank. 10 billion BE, an assassin hunter from the Council of 9 Crowns, a specialist in invisible targets. He doesn't know that 10 billion against 48 billion is like a matchstick against the sun. He doesn't know, and that's why he smiles. Sonho stands on the roof of the building across from Crown Tower. 3 cans of Chilsung on the railing. He places the 4th one, 1 for each lieutenant, the 4th for Suyeon. The 1 he didn't erase. The 1 who will be his voice when the time comes.
He looks at Crown Tower and speaks softly. There's very little left. Soon you'll find out what it's like when they take everything from you. The wind blows the empty cans off the ledge. They fall down, 12 stories. They clatter on the sidewalk. A passerby flinches, lifts his head. An empty roof, the wind. The 14th day. Sonho senses her before he sees her. A vibration in the air, subtle, like a sound too high for the human ear, but one that makes your teeth ache. He's sitting on the roof in Gwangjin with a can of Chilsung in his hand, and the vibration travels through the concrete beneath him. Someone has arrived in Seoul. Someone important. Han Iju lands at Incheon Airport at 3 in the morning. A private jet. No identification marks. No record in the system. She walks out onto the tarmac alone. Not very tall. 5'3". Black hair pulled back into a bun. Simple clothes. No weapons in sight. The head mark above her head glows with a steady white light. SS rank. 10,200,000,000 BE. Skill. Gaze of the Abyss. Allows her to see any living creature within a 5-kilometer radius through thermal and mana energy signatures. She has killed 14 S-rank hunters in her career, each one alone, each in 3 strikes or fewer. The Council of 9 Crowns sends her when a problem needs to be solved quietly and permanently. Waiju gets into the car. She drives to Crown Tower. It's 4 in the morning. Zihao's office. He meets her personally. He's nervous. An S rank in his office is like a nuclear warhead on his desk. Yiju sits down in a chair. She doesn't say hello. She doesn't smile. She says one word, data. Zihao turns on the holographic screen. He shows everything that's left. The Anomaly 0 file from the Rank Council. Records of empty logs. The date of hunters who saw monsters vanish. The timeline of the disappearance of the 3 lieutenants. Yiju listens in silence. She looks at the data. 20 minutes later, she raises her hand. Enough. She stands up. She walks to the window. She activates the gaze of the abyss. Her eyes turn black. Completely. The whites of her eyes, the iris, the pupil. Solid blackness. She looks at Seoul through the glass and sees the city as a network of energy points. Every hunter glows. F ranks like dim sparks. C ranks like candles. S ranks like searchlights. She sees thousands of points, tens of thousands. Every living hunter within a 5-kilometer radius. Every single one. And she doesn't see Sonho. He's standing on a rooftop 700 meters from Crown Tower, and Yiju looks right through him as if he were air. No energy signature, no heat signature, no mana signature. A void. Yiju turns to Zihao. Her eyes are still black. Your anomaly has no energy signature. Zihao turns pale. How is that possible? Everything alive emits energy. Yiju stares at him blankly. Then it's not alive, or it's beyond my range. A pause. My range is 10 billion. If I can't see it, that means its readings are higher, significantly higher. Zihao opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. Higher than 10 billion. Higher than SS rank. Yiju nods. She doesn't look scared. She looks interested. That changes the price, she says. Zihao swallows. Name your price. Yiju names a figure. Zihao turns pale but nods. Deal. Yiju leaves. She goes down to the first floor. She steps out onto the street. 3 in the morning. Seoul at night. She stands in the middle of an empty street and activates the gaze of the abyss again. She looks. Slowly turns 360 degrees. Thousands of energy points. And one empty spot. No, not empty. A hole. A place where there should be light, but there isn't. Like a black star on a map. Not invisibility. Invisibility leaves an outline. This is absence. Categorical absence. Yiju looks at the hole 700 meters to the east and realizes she is looking at the roof of a building in Guangjin. She smiles. For the first time. A faint smile. I found you. No, she found the hole, not him. Yiju runs. SS rank. 6 billion BE in her legs. She covers 700 meters in 4 seconds. She leaps onto the roof of a 12-story building in a single bound. She lands softly. The roof is empty. 3 Chilsung cans on the railing. Sonho left a second before her jump. He felt the vibration. Black eyes scanning the city. He didn't wait. Yiju approaches the cans, takes one, sniffs it. Pear. Fresh. Not flat yet. He was here a minute ago. She puts the can back, looks at the city with black eyes. The hole has moved. Now 2 kilometers south. It's moving. Fast. Yiju jumps off the roof and runs. The hunt begins. 3 hours. Yiju chases the void through the night streets of Seoul, across rooftops, through the streets, through the fissures. The hole is always half a step ahead. She can't get closer than 300 meters. Every time she closes into striking distance, the void shifts. It doesn't run away. It shifts, as if the space around it is rearranging itself. 4 a.m. 5. 6. Dawn. Yiju stops on the roof of a shopping center in Gangnam. She breathes evenly. An SS rank doesn't tire from running, but she understands. She won't catch up. Not because the target is faster, but because the target doesn't exist in the same space. She is chasing an absence, like trying to catch a shadow by turning off the light. Yiju deactivates the gaze. Her eyes regain their color. Brown, warm, incongruous with a person who killed 14 S ranks. She pulls out her phone. She dials. Not Zihao, another number, encrypted. The Council of 9 Crowns line. The voice on the other end is dry and old. Yiju reports. Target confirmed. Energy level beyond my range. Direct pursuit tactics are ineffective. The target does not exist within the standard observation spectrum. Recommendation. Pause. I need information on the absolute oblivion skill. Silence on the line. A long one. Then the voice says one word. Denied. Yiju looks at the phone. Repeat. Information on this skill is classified at the council level. It is enough for you to know that the target must be destroyed. The method is up to you. Yiju puts the phone away. She is a professional. She doesn't need to know why. She needs to know how. And she'll find a way. She always does. Day 15. Yiju changes tactics. She isn't pursuing Sonho. She's tracking the aftermath. Every time Sonho acts, he leaves a trace. Not an energy trace, an information trace. Empty logs, erased monsters, disappeared people. She's mapping it out. All points of anomalous activity over the past 15 days. 23 monster eliminations, 3 erased hunters, 1 stripped of rank. The points form a route. Guangjin, Mapo, Yongsan, Gangnam, Crown Tower, Incheon, and back. A circle centered in Guangjin. Yiju looks at the map. The subject is based in Guangjin, returns there every night. Habit, weakness. A living being, no matter how strong, has habits, and habits are a vulnerability. She won't go after the hole. She'll wait where the hole returns. The 16th day, night. The roof of a 12-story building in Guangjin. Yiju waits. She arrived 6 hours ago. She masked her energy signature with the Shadow of the Abyss skill. She became almost invisible. Almost. Not completely. SS rank cannot completely hide 10 billion BE, but it can lower the signature to F rank level. She lies on the roof and waits. 1 hour, 2, 3, 4. On the parapet are 3 Chilsung cans and 1 empty one next to them. 4:20 a.m. The hole appears. Yiju senses it with her gaze before she hears it. An absence, a tear in the fabric of reality, 20 meters away. Sonho comes up to her roof. She sits down in her usual spot by the railing. She takes out a can of Chilsung, opens it, drinks. Yiju doesn't move, doesn't breathe. She waits. She needs to get within touching distance, 2 meters. Her Abyss Blade skill activates on contact. 10 billion BE in a single strike. That should be enough. It has to be. She crawls, slowly, centimeter by centimeter. 20 meters, 15, 10. Sonho drinks Chilsung and looks at the city. 8 meters, 6, 5. Yiju activates Abyss Blade. Her right hand is covered in black energy. A concentration of 10 billion BE in a single palm. A strike that would cut an S rank in half. 4 meters, 3, 2. The strike. Yiju strikes. Her hand passes through Sonho, through his body, through his head, through his shoulders, as if through air. 10 billion BE pass through the void and strike the concrete roof. The roof explodes. Concrete and rebar fly 20 meters. Yiju stands in a cloud of dust. He looks at his hand. The hand is intact. The blow landed. Perfect. And went right through. He didn't even flinch. Sonho sits on the parapet, a Chilsung can in his hand. He takes a sip, sets the can down, turns his head toward Yiju. For the first time, someone other than Yuri looks in his direction consciously. But Yiju doesn't see him. She sees a hole, an absence, a black silhouette that is not a person, but a gaping hole in the world. Sonho stands up. Yiju takes a step back. 1 step. For the first time in her career, the hole moves toward her. She strikes again, right through it. The 3rd strike, right through it. The 4th, the 5th. 10 billion pass through 48 billion and meet no resistance. Yiju understands. She is categorically inferior. To this creature, she does not exist as a threat. Her strikes are to it as the wind is to a mountain. Sonho raises her hand, opens her palm. Yiju sees this with her gaze. The hole's movement, the outline of a palm in the void. She lunges backward. SS rank. 10 billion at her feet. A 30-meter leap. Sonho snaps his fingers. The same sound. Dry, quiet, like a switch. In midair, Yiju feels her body begin to lose density. Her right leg becomes transparent. She activates her defensive skill, Mantle of the Abyss. 10 billion into the shield. The dissolution slows. It doesn't stop. It slows. Yiju falls onto the roof of the neighboring building. Her right leg is translucent below the knee. 4 seconds. 4 seconds and an SS rank loses a limb. She grabs her leg with both hands. The Mantle of the Abyss burns with black fire around her body. The dissolution stops. The leg regains its density, slowly, painfully. Yiju lies on the roof and stares at the sky. She is alive. By a miracle. The 10 billion point shield slowed the process just enough for her to jump away. 1 second later, and not even her name would have remained. She turns her head. The roof in Guangjin is empty. The hole has vanished. Chilsung's cans are on the railing. Yiju takes out her phone. Her hands are shaking. For the first time in her career, she dials the council's number. The voice is dry and old. Yiju says 2 words. I refuse. Pause. We have no protocol for refusal. Yiju looks at her leg, which was transparent a minute ago. Then create one. This creature is beyond my capabilities. Beyond the SS scale. Beyond the scale, period. Silence. Then a voice speaks. Understood. Stay in Seoul. Await further instructions. The line goes dead. Yeju hangs up the phone. She lies on her back. She looks at the cracks in the sky. 4 seconds. 4 seconds from total annihilation. She's fought 14 battles against S-rankers and never once been wounded. This creature barely lifted a finger and she nearly ceased to exist. Day 17. Seoul is no longer the city it was 2 weeks ago. The rifts are multiplying.
9 of them over the city on the first day, now 23. The sky over Gangnam pulses purple so brightly that you can read at night without a lantern. Monsters are coming out in waves. D rank, C rank, B rank. The hunters can't keep up. The Crown Guild, without lieutenants, without a financial system, without data, is reeling like a boxer after a knockout. S-rank mercenaries without contracts are scattering. Some are joining independent groups. Others are fleeing Korea. 3 fled to Japan. 2 to China. Zihao is losing people and trying to plug the holes with publicity. Every day a new stream, a new interview, a new promise. The Crown Guild will protect Seoul. The Crown Guild is stronger than ever. The approval rating drops from 73 to 51%. People see that the fissures are multiplying while the mop-up operations are slowing down. People are starting to ask questions. Gee, where are the Crown Lieutenants? Why are the S-rankers leaving? What's going on? Zihao smiles at the camera and says everything is under control. Nothing is under control. Sonho sits on a rooftop in Gwangjin. A new rooftop. The old one was destroyed by Iju's strike. He moved to the neighboring building, the parapet, Chilsong Bank. The status window before his eyes. The system stopped displaying numbers long ago. Instead of strength, agility, and mana, there are error symbols. The rank flickers between SS and 3 question marks. A voice in his head comments, dry, sarcastic, chill sun. An AI fragment of a system god that Sonho accidentally erased on the 12th day while clearing an A-rank rift in Mokdon. A minor system deity, keeper of the logs of Sector 7. Sonho touched it and, instead of destroying it, absorbed the fragment of consciousness. Now this fragment lives in his head and comments on what is happening with the voice of a bored bureaucrat. Chilsun says that Sonho's metrics have exceeded the registration limits, that the system cannot display a number with that many zeros, that there is not a single creature on the planet capable of inflicting damage to him except for Baek Son Nim, and even that is uncertain. Sonho listens and does not answer. He is thinking of something else, of So Yuri. 20 days ago, he wrote the name Zihao in the air in front of her face. She nodded. Since then, he has been watching her, from afar, invisible. Yuri didn't sit still. She went to the rank council, then to the police, then to the independent media, everywhere the same thing. My sister, So Hyun, E-rank, was sent to the Rift under contract with the Crown Guild. She didn't return. I demand an investigation. Everywhere, the same story. No data, no records, no evidence. So Hyun's name was erased from the recruitment database because Sonho wiped the database along with Taeyong. An unexpected consequence. By destroying the recruiter, he also destroyed the records of his victims. Yuri was left without evidence, but not without determination. She began gathering evidence on her own. She visited the families of other missing hunters. She recorded their testimonies. She collected photographs. She built a database on a cheap tablet. 12 families in 10 days. 12 stories identical as if copied from the same template. A young hunter, E or F rank, a contract with Crown, the Rift, didn't return, no data. Yuri doesn't know that an invisible figure is helping her, that every time a Crown patrol spots her and turns toward her, the patrol suddenly forgets why it turned. That the surveillance cameras at the buildings where she conducts interviews record blank footage. that once a B-rank hunter from Crown received an order to detain a girl who asks too many questions. He went toward her. He got within 10 meters and forgot who he was looking for. He turned around and left. Yuri thinks she's lucky. She isn't. She is being guarded by a being with stats off the charts. The 18th day. Yuri comes to the same rooftop in Gwangjin. Not by accident. She's this spot. The only place in Seoul where the blurry silhouette appears regularly. She climbs the fire escape, steps out onto the roof. Chilsung cans on the railing. 6 of them. A neat row. Yuri looks at them, sits down next to them, takes a can of pear Chilsung out of her backpack. She places the 7th one. Sonho stands 3 meters away and watches her. Yuri turns her head toward him. A blurry silhouette. Outlines. A shadow. She speaks. I don't know who you are. I don't know your name. I don't need to know. I need you to listen. She pulls out a tablet. She shows it to the blurry figure in front of her. 12 families, 12 stories, 312 names I found in old databases that Crown didn't have time to clean up. E ranks, F ranks, children. Zihao sent them into the fissures with underrated rankings. They went in thinking it was an E rank sweep, but a B rank was waiting inside. Or higher. They died. Their experience went to Zihao. Their lives were worth 28,000 points, each one. Sonho listens, a can of Chilsung in her hand. Yuri continues. My sister, Hyun. She looks at the photo. 2 identical faces. Twins. She was in the 3rd group. The rift in Mokdon. On the 13th day of recruitment. 4 out of 20 returned. Hyun didn't come back. Yuri puts away the tablet. She looks at the blurred silhouette. You're killing his people. I know. I saw the empty frames on the news. The Crown lieutenants have vanished. No one remembers who they were. But I remember that they existed, because I have a good memory for gaps. She places the tablet on the parapet next to the cans. It's all here. Names, dates, amounts, evidence. If you need a voice, I'll be your voice. Silence. Wind. Yuri waits. A minute. 2. 3. Then letters appear on the tablet screen, one after another, as if an invisible finger were writing on the glass. D, V, A, D, T, S, A, T, B, V, O, S, B, M, O, Y, D, E, N, B. Yuri reads. The 28th day. She looks up. 10 days. The silhouette is motionless. Yuri nods slowly. She doesn't know what will happen on the 28th day, but she'll be ready. She takes the tablet, stands up. She walks toward the stairs. She turns around once. A blurred silhouette against the backdrop of the night city. A shadow drinking pear Chilsung and counting the days until reckoning. Yuri leaves. Sonho places a can on the railing. 8 in a row. He looks at the Crown Tower across the river. Chilsung in his head says that Zihao has contacted So Council of the 9 Crowns again. That the council has recalled Iju, but not its interest. That somewhere in Tibet, Baek Son Nim is receiving daily reports. Sonyo is silent. Chilsung continues. He says that the system marks his growth as a system error. That on the true system servers, his file is blocked and marked in red. That the last time such a mark was on a file was on Baek Son Nim's, 60 years ago, on another planet, in another cycle. Sonyo is silent. Chilson asks if he wants to know what happened to Baek Son Nim in that cycle. Sonho replies, one word, later. Right now he needs to think about the 28th day, about the stream, about 40 million viewers, about Zihao on stage in his costume, about the cup, about his mother in the front row. He has to plan everything down to the second, because one mistake, one random memory, one name spoken aloud, and everything will be reset. He'll become an F rank, 100 BE, and he'll die. Sonho sets down an empty can. The 9th, the 19th day. Jung Yui-gyung sits in her office at the Rank Council and rereads the report she was ordered to destroy. Anomaly 0, 40 pages, graphs, maps, statistical models. She constructed a profile of the invisible subject based on gaps in the data, just as an astronomer constructs a profile of a black hole based on the distortion of light around it. The subject is active at night, based in residential areas, destroys monsters and hunters associated with the Crown Guild, leaves civilians alone, leaves independent hunters alone, leaves the council alone, purposefully dismantles the infrastructure of one specific organization. This is not a monster. It is not a natural disaster. It is a person with a plan, with a motive, with a personal hatred for Zihao. Aijian closed the report last night and realized that if she was right, then the Rank Council was pursuing not a threat, but a victim, who Zihao had offended so deeply that this someone had become an invisible god of vengeance. She didn't destroy the report. She copied it onto a personal storage device. She hid the device in a secret compartment behind a ventilation grill in her apartment, and she wrote a second report. Clean. No conclusions, no profile. An anomaly of undetermined nature. Recommendation: continue observation. She handed this report to the director. The director is satisfied. Aijian returned to her desk and opened the system's database. She is looking for something that isn't there. A person who has been erased. If the subject of Anomaly 0 is a former hunter or a former citizen from whom Zihao stole something, then there must be a trace in the system. Not a name. The name has been erased, but a hole. An empty space where a name used to be. Like a dent in a pillow after a person has stood up. She searched for 3 hours. The databases are enormous. Millions of records, millions of hunters, millions of civilians. And among them, one record. Empty. The registration number exists. The registration date exists. Linked to the location. Seoul. Linked to the event. The schism. Everything else is empty. Name. Empty. Rank. Empty. Skill. Empty. Photo. An empty frame. Base units. Display error. Aijian looks at the record. The registration number is the first in Seoul. The very first. This person acquired a skill before anyone else in the city, during the schism, at the Nexon Dome Arena. Aijian opens the Schism Event Archive. Nexon Dome, Iron Crown Championship Finals, Team Black Halo, Captain, blank. She clicks on the link, Team Black Halo page, 5 players, 4 names, 1 empty slot. Position, Captain. Name, blank. Achievements, 2027 World Champion. But the winner's name, blank. Aijian slumps back in her chair. The captain of Black Halo, the man who won the World Championship, whose name has been erased from reality, whose place was taken by Zihao. She understands, all at once. Click. Zihao is no hero. Zihao is a thief. He stole someone else's victory, someone else's glory, someone else's life. And the one who was robbed became an anomaly, became an invisible deity who is tearing Crown apart brick by brick. Aijian closes the database. Her hands are shaking. She has just discovered the most dangerous secret in Korea, and she knows the council must not find out about this. Because the council is working with Zihao. Because the director receives money from Crown. Because Category Red isn't a hunt for a threat, but a hunt for a victim. The 20th day, 3 in the morning, Aijian leaves the council building after an 18-hour shift. The street is empty. The streetlights flicker. She walks toward the parking lot. 3 figures emerge from the shadows. Hunters, 2 B ranks and 1 A-. Crown patches on their sleeves. Aijian stops. She is C rank, an analyst.
0 combat skills. Against 2 B ranks and 1 A minus, she doesn't stand a chance. The A minus steps forward. His face is hidden by a mask. His voice is distorted. Jung Yi-gyung, you are advised to cease research on Project Anomaly 0. The recommendation comes from headquarters. Yi-gyung looks at them. Which leadership? The council or crown? A minus doesn't answer. He draws an energy blade. The blue blade hums in the night air. The recommendation is final. Yi-gyung takes a step back. Her back hits the wall. A dead end. She knew this could happen. She didn't think it would be so soon. A minus raises the blade. 2 B rank agents flank her from the sides. A triangle. The classic formation for elimination. Clean. Quick. No witnesses. A minus swings. The blade heads for Yi-gyung's neck and stops. Mid-air. A centimeter from her skin. A minus jerks his hand. The blade doesn't move. As if the edge has struck an invisible wall. He presses harder. 2 million BE in a single strike. The blade doesn't budge. A minus looks at his weapon. The blade begins to dim. The energy is draining away. The blue light fades. The blade shatters. Steel shards fall onto the asphalt like confetti. A minus steps back. He looks at his empty hands. The 2 B rankers activate their skills simultaneously. Fire barrage and steel shield. Attack and defense. 300,000 BE each. Fire barrage strikes the void in front of Egan. The flames spread out to the sides like water around a rock. Something stands between them and the analyst. Something invisible. Steel shield envelops the second B rank in armor. It's useless. The shield begins to melt. The steel becomes transparent. The B rank screams and drops the skill. Too late. His health bar is flashing. B, C, D, E, F. His rank is dropping. He clutches his head. Base units are melting away. 200,000. 100. 50. 10. He falls to his knees. F rank. An ordinary person. Next to him, his partner loses his fire. The flame goes out. His hands are cold. The hollow marker flashes and goes dark. 2 B rank crown hunters lie on the asphalt. F ranks. No skills, no strength, no memory of who sent them. A minus stands alone. He stares at the void before Egon. He turns and runs. S rank speed. 2 million BE in his legs. He runs 50 meters. His holographic marker goes out at 41. He falls, rolls across the asphalt, gets up. F rank. He doesn't remember why he was running, doesn't remember who he is, doesn't remember his name. He stands in the middle of the street and looks at the hands that a minute ago held an A-rank energy blade. Now they're just hands. Weak. Human. Ordinary. Egeon stands against the wall and breathes. Quickly. Frequently. She didn't see what happened. 3 hunters came to kill her. 3 hunters ceased to exist as hunters. She saw the blade stop in midair. How the flame bypassed her. How the hunters lost their ranks one by one. She stares into the void before her. The void stares back at her. She doesn't see a silhouette. She is not Yuri. She has no twin sister with shared memories. But she knows Anomaly 0 is here. It saved her. Why? She stands and waits for an answer. Letters appear on the wall next to her head, scratches in the concrete, as if an invisible finger were writing on the stone. SOVETOPASEN. Igion reads. The council is dangerous. She knows. She knows this better than anyone. Another line. N-U-J-E-N-N-E-N. Ijiang stares at the letters. Navigator. She is an analyst, the system's best analyst in Korea. She knows every mechanism, every protocol, every loophole. If anyone needs a navigator through the system, there is no one better than her. She nods, slowly, once. The last line appears on the wall. DVADCATBVOSBMOY, Ijiang reads. 28. She understands. 11 days. She walks down the empty street. Behind her, 3 former hunters wander the sidewalk, not remembering who they are. The cameras recorded an empty frame. The logs are clean. No one will find out. Sonho stands on a lamppost and watches her go. 2 allies. Yuri for the voice. Igyeon for navigation. Chilsun in the head for the system. 3 tools. 1 goal. The 28th day. He jumps down from the lamppost. He lands without a sound. Ghosts make no sound when they fall. He walks through Seoul at night toward Crown Tower. Not to attack, for reconnaissance. He needs one thing from that tower, a fragment of the true system. Chilsun said that on the 69th floor, there is a server room with a direct connection to the system's core. That's where the protocols are stored that Zihao received from the Council of 9 Crowns. Protocols explaining what the fissures really are, why ranks are needed, why the system chooses some and kills others. Sonho needs answers, but they'll have to wait. Right now, he's on a reconnaissance mission. He counts the cameras. He counts the guards. He counts the barriers. The 21st day, he'll return here and take what he needs. The 21st day, 3 in the morning. Crown Tower sleeps. Not completely. The tower never sleeps completely. 12 S-rank patrols on constant rotation. System barriers on every floor, updated after the invasion. Cameras with next-generation mana energy sensors. Zihao has poured his last reserves into defense. $200 million for the security of a single building. In vain, shaky, useless. Sonho walks through the first floor wall. The barrier flickers. It doesn't trigger. The barrier is set to energy signatures from F to SS. Sonho has no signature. He is a tear in the fabric of the world. The barrier sees a wall. Only a wall. A camera with a mana energy sensor scans the corridor every 30 seconds. Sonho walks past it. The camera records an empty corridor. The sensor registers the background mana level. 0 anomalies. An S-rank patrol of 3 hunters walks down the second floor corridor. 200 million BE in total. They pass a meter away from Sonho. One of them shivers, rubs his neck. A draft, he thinks. The AC. Sonho ascends, floor by floor. Staircases, corridors, server rooms, laboratories. He passes through doors that open only with SSS-class biometrics. Through walls lined with anti-magic alloy, through energy grids capable of holding back an A-rank monster. It's all useless. Everything is glass to him. The 69th floor, the server room, a 20 by 20 meter room. The floor is made of cooling panels. The ceiling is made of cables. In the center is a server, not an ordinary one, a black monolith 2 meters tall. No buttons, no screens, no interface. The surface is covered with symbols that glow a dim purple. The same symbols as in the fissures. The same symbols as in the system. A direct connection to the core. Chilsun in Sonho's head falls silent. Then he speaks quietly, not like usual, without sarcasm, without boredom, quietly and seriously. This is a fragment. A shard of the system's core, one of 9. Each member of the Council of 9 Crowns possesses one. It is their source of power, their key to SSS rank, their connection to the system. Sonho looks at the monolith. If he takes the fragment, Zihao will lose his direct connection to the system. He'll lose access to the rank economy protocols. He'll lose the ability to buy points through sacrifices. He'll lose everything that gave him an advantage over ordinary hunters. But Sonho needs more than just sabotage.
He needs information. He touches the monolith. His palm rests on the black surface. Symbols flare up. Violet light floods the room. And a torrent crashes into Sonho's mind. Data. Not words, not text, pure information. Direct upload into his consciousness. He sees the system, the real system, not an interface with ranks and points, a mechanism, a machine, a structure the size of a galaxy that runs on a single type of fuel: awareness, fear, hope, memory, human consciousness. The rifts are no accident. They are funnels. Every monster killed by a hunter generates the energy of awareness, fear of the monster, the joy of victory, the grief of loss. All of this is fuel. 99% of the planet's population will perish in the fissures within 3 years. This is not a side effect. This is the goal. The system renews the planets. It feeds their populations to the fissures. It gathers energy. It moves on to the next one. 6 planets before Earth, 6 civilizations, 6 billion devoured. Earth is the 7th. On every planet, the system creates hunters, ranks, guilds, competition. People kill monsters thinking they're saving the world. In reality, they're feeding the machine. The Council of 9 Crowns. Guardians. Watchers. People who learned the truth and accepted the system's offer. Immortality and power in exchange for controlling the process. They ensure the rifts open on schedule, that the hunters don't learn the truth, that no one disrupts the cycle. Beck Sonham, head of the council, SSS rank, anchor of the 6th cycle. On the 6th planet, she was what Sonho is now: invisible, forgotten, all-powerful. They broke her. They forced her to remember, reset her stack, and offered her a choice: death or service. She chose service, became a guardian, became part of the machine, and waits for the next anchor to break him just the same, or to pass the key to him. Chilson is silent for a long time. Then he speaks. Now you know. Sonho removes her hand from the monolith. The light goes out. The room is dark again. Cool. Quiet. He knows. Now he knows everything. The faults, the council, the system. Beck Sonham. 6 dead planets, and a 7th that is dying. He stands before the monolith and thinks, not of revenge, not of Zihao, of his mother. About the 18 million people who have forgotten him. About the E-rank boys who are fed to the fissures. About a world built on lies. Chilson says that the anchor of oblivion is an antibody. The system created it by accident, a side effect of a skill too powerful, granted to a person too well known. One such person appears in every cycle on every planet. A person whose oblivion becomes a weapon against the machine itself, the only being capable of taking the system apart bolt by bolt, if it doesn't break first. Sonho touches the monolith again. Not for information, to erase. The black surface begins to fade. The symbols go dark. The fragment of the true system that belonged to Zihao melts like ice on hot asphalt. Slowly, painfully. This is not an E-rank monster. This is a part of the system itself. The erasure takes 40 seconds. 40 seconds during which Crown Tower trembles, floor by floor. The vibration runs through the foundation. Security on the lower floors clutch the walls. The alarm wails. S-rank patrols rush to the server room.
too late. When they break down the door to the 69th floor, the room is empty. The monolith is gone. The symbols are gone. Cooling panels on the floor and nothing else. No traces. No logos. The cameras recorded an empty room.
Sonho is already on the roof of the neighboring building. In his head, Chilson counts quietly. The fragment has been destroyed. The 9 Crowns Council's titles in the Korea sector have been weakened by 11%. Zihao's connection to the system's core has been severed. His sacrifice skill no longer works. He can no longer buy rank with others' lives. Zihao is A rank, 3,200,000 BE. Starting tonight, that's his ceiling. He won't grow any further. He can only fall. Crown Tower is blaring sirens. Emergency lights flood the night in Seoul with red. Zihao runs out of his bedroom on the 72nd floor, barefoot, in a bathrobe. He runs toward the server room. He sees an empty room. He stands in the doorway and looks at the spot where the monolith used to be. His face. Sonho would have seen that face if he'd stayed. The face of a man who realized he was losing, that the invisible enemy wasn't just taking out his pawns, he was dismantling the board itself. Zihao grabs his phone. He dials the encrypted channel of the Council of 9 Crowns. His hands are shaking. Text. Fragment destroyed. I need protection. I need evacuation. I need Baek Sonim. The reply comes 30 seconds later. Brief. Cold.
The Crown Victory Festival is scheduled for the 28th day. Carry it out. We will be watching. Zihao rereads the reply 3 times. Go ahead with it. They want him to take the stage. In front of the cameras. In front of 40 million viewers. Like bait. Like a lure. They're using him to lure out the anomaly. Zihao hurls the phone against the wall. The screen shatters. He stands in the empty server room and realizes that to the Council of 9 Crowns, he's just as disposable as the E-rank boys he himself sent into the fissures. Somewhere in Tibet, Baek Sonim opens her eyes. She smiles. The boy has found the fragment. Quick. She stands up for the first time in 7 years. She stretches her shoulders. Her neck cracks. She looks at the map of the world hanging in the air before her. A red dot in Korea is pulsing and growing. The 28th day, she says aloud. All right, I'll come take a look. Sonho places another bottle of Chilsung on the roof. The 10th. 7 days until reckoning. In his mind, fragments of the true system come together into a picture. A terrifying one. A complete one. A final one. He knows now why he exists. He knows the system created him by mistake. He knows the council wants to break him. He knows that Baek Sonim was just like him. And she broke. He finishes the Chilsung. Pear. Sweet. From childhood. He looks at the city that doesn't know it's dying. 7 days. Day 22. So Yuri sits in the basement of an abandoned printing shop in Uijeongbu and lays out 12 folders on the floor. Each folder is a family. Each family is a dead hunter. She works 17 hours a day, sleeps 4, eats when she remembers. A tablet is connected to a projector stolen from a bankrupt office. A map of connections glows on the wall. Zihao is in the center. Lines lead from him to the lieutenants. From the lieutenants to the recruiters, from the recruiters to the lists of the dead. 312 names. Yuri knows every single one. So Hayun is in the 117th position. Her sister, her twin, her other half. The basement door opens. Yuri grabs a knife from the table. A woman stands in the doorway, 34 years old. The dark circles under her eyes are worse than Yuri's. Her coat is rumpled. Her hair is pulled back into a messy ponytail. Jong Ig-young. Yuri doesn't know her. Ig-young doesn't know Yuri, but both received the same message. Letters scrawled on the walls. For Yuri on the roof parapet in Gwangjin. For Igyung on the concrete wall by the parking lot. An address, time, the 22nd day, midnight, the printing shop, Jungbu. Yuri lowers the knife. You're from him. Igyung nods. She doesn't know who he is. Yuri doesn't know who he is, but they both know he exists. Igyung sits down on an overturned box. She looks at the map on the wall. She looks at the folders. She looks at Yuri. You gathered all this yourself. Yuri nods. 12 families, 312 names. Evidence that Crown sent E-rankers to the rifts with underrated ratings. Igyung takes a laptop out of her bag. She opens it. On the screen is the file Anomaly 0, 40 pages. Next to it is a second file. Registration record number 1 for the city of Seoul. Empty. The name has been erased. The face is erased. But the position remains. Captain Black Halo. World champion. Yuri stares at the screen. The captain. She remembers the championship final. She watched it on TV. She remembers the cup. She remembers the team. She remembers Zihao lifting the trophy. But something is wrong. Something has always been wrong. She remembers the feeling that someone else should have been standing on stage. A shadow, a silhouette, an empty spot next to the trophy. She shakes her head. She can't remember. She mustn't remember. If she remembers the name, the stack will reset, and the one protecting them will become F rank and die. Igyeon speaks. He was the captain. Zihao stole his place. The system erased him from reality. Every time someone tries to remember and can't, he gets stronger. He's invisible, invulnerable, stronger than anything on the planet. But if even one person remembers his real name, he'll lose everything. Yuri is silent for a long time. Then she speaks. That's why he doesn't talk. That's why he writes on the walls. That's why he keeps his distance. He's afraid I'll remember. Igyung nods. Yuri looks at the map, at the 312 names, at his sister's name. I won't remember. Even if I know, I won't say it. Never. Igyung opens the second file, the plan. Day 28, Crown Victory Festival, Gocheok Sky Dome Stadium, live broadcast, 40 million viewers. Zihao on stage. He will proclaim himself the first emperor of the era. This is his coronation, his triumph, his end. Igyung explains. She needs to prepare the technical infrastructure, take control of the broadcast, ensure the cameras are working when he appears, because his ability jams the cameras. God in the void. Nothing is recorded within a 50-meter radius. But if the cameras are reconfigured in advance to an analog signal not tied to the system, they will record. Not mana energy sensors, regular lenses, glass and light, old technology. The system doesn't control what isn't connected to it. Yuri nods. What should I do? Igyun looks at her. You are his voice. You need to be in the hall, with a microphone. When he appears on stage, 40 million viewers won't know who he is. They won't see his rank. They won't see his name. They'll see a silhouette. Someone has to explain what's happening, not him. He can't speak on camera. His voice isn't recorded. Yuri, you're the only one who can see him. You'll be commenting live on what he does. Yuri looks at her hands. Skinny, weak, F rank, 80 BE. She'll stand on stage in front of 40 million people and tell the world the truth about the man the world has forgotten. She clenches her fists. Okay. They work until dawn. Igyun is drawing up a technical diagram for intercepting the broadcast. Yuri is preparing her text, names, dates, evidence, the speech she will deliver when the time comes. In the corner of the basement stands a jar of Chilson pear jam, full, untouched. It wasn't there when they started. Yuri notices it at 4 in the morning. She picks it up, warm, as if someone had just been holding it in their hands. She puts the jar back. Doesn't turn around. Knows he's here. Knows he's listening. Day 23. Zihao announces the Crown Victory Festival, a press conference for the whole world. Gochok Sky Dome Stadium, live broadcast. Tickets sell out in an hour. 40 million online viewers are expected. Zihao stands behind the podium in a new suit and smiles. The smile is forced. His eyes dart around. He knows he's being used as bait. The Council of Nine Crowns wants him to step into the spotlight and wait, waiting for the anomaly to arrive. And the Council will watch, from afar, from a safe distance.
Zihao hates them for this, but he has no choice. Without the fragment, his connection to the system is dead. The sacrifice skill doesn't work. His 3.2 million BE is the ceiling. He is A rank and will remain A rank. If he refuses the festival, the council will abandon him. And then the anomaly will get to him with no witnesses, no cameras, no chance of help. On stage, at least there are cameras, at least there are spectators, at least the illusion of control. Zihao agrees. He prepares a speech. He prepares a suit. That very one. The old stage jacket he found in the apartment's closet. Someone else's jacket. Someone else's life. He puts it on in front of the mirror. The jacket doesn't fit well. The shoulders are a bit too wide. It was tailored for someone else, for a person whom Zihao doesn't remember, can't remember. A blank spot in his memory, a dent in the pillow. Zihao looks in the mirror and, for the first time in 23 days, asks himself a question. Whose jacket is this? Why is it in my closet? Why are the shoulders wider than mine? He shakes his head. It doesn't matter. In 5 days, he'll take the stage and declare himself emperor. In 5 days, it will all be over. He doesn't know how right he is.
Day 25. Son Tae-hyun, commander of the Iron Vow S, rank 92 million BE, stands at the edge of a Class A fault in the Dongdaemun district and watches as his best team of 12 hunters, ranging from B to S rank, loses the battle to the Bone Leviathan, an A-rank monster, 3.6 million BE. A massive creature resembling a snake made of fused human skeletons, a head like a tower, a tail that demolishes buildings. The Iron Vow team has been fighting for 3 hours. 2 fighters are wounded. 1 is in critical condition. The Leviathan loses 30% of its health and regenerates. The battle is turning into a war of attrition. Taehyun stands and counts. Another hour, maybe 2. Then his men will get tired, then mistakes, then deaths. He prepares to give the order to retreat. The Leviathan swipes its tail. 2 B-rank fighters are sent flying. 1 crashes into the wall. A crunch. Taehyun clenches his jaw. He grabs his weapon. An S-rank 2-handed sword. He'll go alone. The last reserve. The commander goes into battle when there's no one else left. He takes a step. Leviathan turns its head toward him. 3,600,000 BE facing 92 million. A serious battle. A long battle. Leviathan freezes. Its head stops mid-motion. Its tail hangs in the air. Its body begins to fade. Its bones become transparent. Sonho stands next to Leviathan's left paw, his hand on the bony surface. Dissolution. Leviathan vanishes. From bottom to top, paws, body, tail, head, 1.5 seconds. System notification. Class A creature destroyed. Method, no data. Taehyun stands with his sword at the ready. The sword is pointed into the void. Before him is an empty space where, a second ago, stood a monster that his best team couldn't kill for 3 hours. Silence. His fighters are frozen in place. The wounded man by the wall is coughing. Someone drops their weapon. Taehyun slowly lowers his sword. He's no fool. He's a veteran, 30 years in combat. He's seen skills of every rank from F to S. He knows what an S-rank hunter is capable of. He knows the limits. Wiping out an A-rank monster in a second and a half without any visible impact isn't S-rank. It isn't SS. It's beyond the limits. He sheathes his sword, slowly, carefully, like a man putting away a weapon, knowing it no longer serves a purpose. He turns to the team. Gather the wounded. We're out of here. His B-plus rank deputy runs up. Commander, what was that? Who? Taehyun looks at him. For a long time, I don't know, and I don't want to know. He leads the team out of the rift. It's morning outside. The sun is up. The city is alive. People walk along the sidewalks with holo tags above their heads. F ranks huddle against the walls. C ranks in the center. A normal day. Taehyun stops. He looks at the rift closing behind him. He looks at the city. He looks at his fighters loading the wounded man into a car. He takes out his phone. He calls Iron Vow headquarters. His voice is steady. Call a general meeting. Tonight. Evening. Iron Vow headquarters. 60 hunters ranging from C to S rank. Korea's best independent guild. 12 years of history. 40 rifts cleared. Not a single casualty before the schism. Taehyun stands before them. Calm. Quiet. He says that this morning something destroyed an A-rank Leviathan in a second and a half. That this something is invisible. That his status scanner didn't detect its presence, that the system didn't log it, that 3 hours of battle by his best team didn't accomplish what this something did with a single touch. He pauses. He looks at his people. We're no longer on this scale. Silence. He continues. I'm disbanding Iron Vow. Starting tomorrow. All contracts are canceled. All obligations are closed. Compensation has been paid. Shouts. Protests. 60 people speak at once. Taehyun raises his hand. Silence. He speaks. For 30 years, I've fought what I could understand. Monsters with a rank. Hunters with a name. Enemies you can see. What I saw this morning cannot be understood. It cannot be seen. It cannot be defeated. And I won't pretend that my sword means anything in a world where someone snaps their fingers and A rank ceases to exist. He leaves. 60 people watch him go. The door closes. Iron Vow is no more. The next day, the news spreads like wildfire through Korea's hunting world. Sun Tae-hyun, the S-rank commander of Iron Vow, has disbanded the guild. Journalists are clamoring for comments. Tae-hyun gives a single interview. 3 sentences. I encountered something that shouldn't exist. My sword is useless. I had the sense to admit it. The interview racks up 12 million views in a day. The comments are full of theories, a new type of monster, a system anomaly, divine intervention. No one can guess. Zihao watches the interview in his office. His face is stony. An S-rank veteran disbanded the guild because he saw the anomaly in action. If this isn't panic, then what is? Zihao closes the screen. The 28th day is 3 days away. He opens the desk drawer. Inside is an injector, blue liquid, an experimental rank booster from Crown Labs. Banned, dangerous, side effects, destruction of the nervous system within 72 hours. But for those 72 hours, his rank jumps 2 levels. A rank becomes S+. 3,200,000 becomes 150 million. He doesn't want to use it. He's not an idiot. He knows that S+ is nothing compared to what wiped out an S-rank assassin in 4 seconds. But it's the only thing he has, his only trump card. He closes the box. It's not time yet. In 3 days, on stage, when the anomaly comes, if it comes. Day 26. Jong Yui-gyung is sitting in the Rank Council's server room. She's here officially. Evening shift. Monitoring the fissures. No one knows that at the same time, she's uploading a broadcast interception program to an external server. The code was written in 4 nights. Simple, elegant. The moment the Crown Victory Festival live broadcast begins, the program switches the stadium's 12 cameras from digital to analog signal. System filters are disabled. The cameras begin to capture light like ordinary lenses, without any connection to the system, without mana energy sensors. If the anomaly appears on stage, the cameras will record what they see. Not a blank frame, a silhouette, a figure, a person. Aijin finishes the upload, erases the traces, shuts down the terminal. She stands up, she leaves. At the threshold of the server room, she turns around. An empty room. The flickering of monitors. She knows he's watching. He's always watching. She speaks into the void. The cameras will work. The rest is up to you. Silence. She leaves. The 27th day, the eve. So Yuri stands in front of the mirror in the basement of the print shop. Black jeans, black jacket, a tablet with files on her belt, a wireless microphone in her pocket. She rehearses her speech, quietly, to herself.
312 names. She remembers every one. Haeyun is in the 117th position. She isn't crying. She stopped crying on the 5th day. Now she has only a goal, only a date, only a voice. Tomorrow she will take the stage in front of 40 million people and tell the truth. She is F rank, 80 BE. In a world where a number determines the right to speak, she is 0. But tomorrow, 0 will speak. On the roof parapet in Gwangjin stand 11 cans of Chilsung pear soda. A neat row. 11 days until reckoning are counted down by 11 empty cans. Sonho places the 12th, the last one before the finale. Chilsung in his head is silent, silent all day. By evening, it speaks a single sentence. Baek Sonnim has flown out of Tibet. Sonho doesn't answer. He finishes the Chilsung. Pear, sweet, tomorrow. The 28th day, 1800. Gocheok Sky Dome Stadium. 50,000 spectators in the stands. 40 million online. Live broadcast to 26 countries. The stage is bathed in white light. The crown logo rotates as a hologram above the center of the field. Music, bass, confetti, a celebration. Zihao is backstage. Sonho's jacket on his shoulders. His shoulders are a bit broad. He adjusts the lapels. His hands are trembling. In his right pocket, a syringe filled with blue liquid. In his left, a phone with an open channel to the Council of 9 Crowns. The latest message from the council. We are watching. Proceed according to plan. Zihao closes the phone. Plan? What plan? Go on stage, proclaim himself emperor, wait for the invisible something to arrive, and hope that the council intervenes before that something gets to him. That's the whole plan. Security. 12 S-rank bodyguards, the best of the remaining ones. Mercenaries from 5 countries, a total of 1,200,000,000 BE, a serious force. Zihao knows it's not enough, but there is no other. 1900. With Yuri, he enters the stadium through the service entrance. The pass is fake. Egeon made it. Black jacket, tablet on his belt, microphone in his pocket. F rank. Security doesn't pay attention to F ranks. They watch for B ranks and above. Yuri passes through security. She climbs up to the technical balcony above the stage. Here are the camera operators, sound engineers, technicians. She sits in a corner, inconspicuous, small. No one notices her. 2000. Jung Eui-young is sitting in the stadium's control room. She came in under the guise of a rank council technician. Her pass is genuine. Her clearance grants her access to the communication systems of any facility in Seoul. She connects to the broadcast system. The interception program is loaded, waiting for activation. 12 cameras, analog signal, ready. 2100. Zihao takes the stage. A standing ovation. 50,000 people rise to their feet. The lights are blinding. The cameras are trained on him. He approaches the microphone. He smiles. A dead smile. Glassy. He begins his speech. Citizens of New Korea, 6 months ago, the world changed. Fault lines, monsters, chaos. And in the midst of this chaos, one force stood between you and the abyss. The Crown Guild. My guild. Applause. He continues. Today, I declare a new era. An era of order. An era of power. My era. From this day forward, I take full responsibility for the safety of Korea. From this day forward, I am the first emperor of the era. A burst of applause, shouts, music, confetti. In the front row, Sonho's mother claps, tears in her eyes. She is proud of this man on stage. She doesn't know why. She feels she must. Zihao raises the cup, that very one, from the Iron Crown final. He holds it above his head. Cameras, lights, millions of eyes, 21 hours and 7 minutes. The lights go out. All at once. All the spotlights, all the screens, all the holograms. The stadium is plunged into darkness. 50,000 people freeze. Silence. Absolute. As if someone had pressed the pause button on the whole world. Aegean in the control room activates the interception program. 12 cameras switch to analog signal. Lenses, glass, light, no system, no filters. The cameras begin to record what they see. The light returns. Not white, not stage lighting, dim, gray, like the light of a cloudy morning. And on stage, a silhouette. Sonho stands 3 meters from Zihao. The cameras record. 40 million viewers see the figure. Dark, faceless, without a voice tag. Above his head, a single symbol, an empty set, a 0 crossed out with a slash. The system cannot display a rank. It cannot display a name. It cannot display anything. Only this symbol, a void stronger than anything that exists. Zihao drops the microphone. The sound of it hitting the stage echoes through the stadium. He looks at the silhouette. He sees it for the first time. Not a face, not a body, an outline, a shadow, a hole in reality. He cackles, a nervous laugh, breaking into fits. What kind of ghost is this? Security. 12 S-rank bodyguards activate their abilities. 12 bursts of energy, fire, ice, steel, lightning, darkness, light. 1,200,000,000 BE directed at a single point. At the silhouette on stage. 12 strikes simultaneously. Yuri, on the technical balcony, turns on the microphone. She connects to the stadium's broadcast system. Her voice echoes over the stadium. Quiet. Steady. Unshaken. Look. Look closely. 12 strikes pass through the silhouette, right through it, like wind through an open window. 1,200,000,000 BE strike the void. The stage behind Sonho explodes. Debris flies into the stands. The stadium's barrier shields intercept the shards. The silhouette stands, motionless. Not a scratch, not a movement, not a reaction. 12 S-rankers look at their hands. Full power, 0 effect. Yuri speaks into the microphone. 12 S-rank hunters have just struck with full force. 1,200,000,000 base units. Nothing. Not a single scratch. You see it. 40 million see it. Sonho raises his right hand, opens his palm. 12 clicks. Not simultaneous, sequential, one after another, like a metronome. Click. The first bodyguard. His body glows. It becomes transparent. Armor, weapons, skills, everything melts away. A second. An empty suit crumbles to the floor. Click. The second. Click. The third. The stadium is in horror. Someone screams. Someone tries to run. Barrier shields hold the stands in place. No one can get out. Click. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Yuri counts into the microphone. 4, 5, 6. 12 S-rankers. The world's best mercenaries. Wiped out one by one, like words from a blackboard. Click. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th,
12th, 12 empty suits on the stage floor, 12 piles of fabric and metal without owners. Silence. The stadium is silent. 50,000 people hold their breath. 40 million online don't blink. Zhao stands alone, on stage, before the silhouette, the trophy in his hands. His legs are shaking. He reaches into his pocket. An injector, blue liquid. He jabs it into his neck. Pain, instant, blinding. His body twists. His rank spikes. A SS+. 3 million becomes 150 million. Zhao straightens up. His eyes burn blue. The veins on his temples bulge. He strikes. All the power of the S+ rank in a single blow. 150 million BE. His fist passes through the silhouette. Zhao flies through Sonho and falls onto the stage floor, face down. Yuri into the microphone. S+ rank. 150 million. Through, like the wind. Sonho doesn't move, doesn't attack. He approaches Zhao, slowly, step by step. Zhao gets to his knees. The blue liquid burns his nerves. He has 72 hours until complete destruction, if he survives this night. Sonho stops in front of him. He bends down, takes the cup from his hands. Zhao doesn't resist. His fingers open of their own accord. Sonho turns toward the camera. He holds the cup. The cameras roll. Analog signal. Glass and light. 40 million see the silhouette with the World Championship Cup. Sonho stands on stage with the cup in his hand and looks at Zhao. Zhao is on his knees. Blue stimulant fluid is dripping from his nose. His eyes flare and fade. S+ rank pulsates and tears like fabric in the wind. 150 million BE units are tearing at his body from within. He looks up at the silhouette, at the faceless shadow, at the empty void above his head. And for the first time in 28 days, Zhao feels not fear, recognition. Something in the outline of the shoulders, in the height, in the way the silhouette holds the cup, with the left hand, by the lower rim. Only one person held the cup that way. Zhao opens his mouth. No, it can't be. Him. He tries to remember. The face. The name. Something slips along the edge of his consciousness like a fish beneath thin ice. There was a name. There was a face. There was a man beside him for 5 years. 5 years on the same team. 5 years in the same apartment. Who? Zhao clutches his head. His temples are splitting. Not from the stimulant, from habit. Absolute oblivion crushes every attempt to remember. The harder Zhao pulls at the thread of memory, the stronger the multiplier. Every thought he has about who stands before him makes that person even more powerful. Sonho looks at him, places the cup at Zhao's feet, and begins to erase. Not the person, the titles. The title marker above Zhao's head flashes. The first title disappears. Savior of Soul. The letters melt like smoke. 50,000 spectators watch as the text above the man's head on stage loses a line. Yuri speaks into the microphone. The title, Savior of Soul, removed. False. This man did not save Soul. This man sent hunters to their deaths in rifts with low ratings. 312 people. She begins to read the names. First, Kim Dae-ho, 19 years old, E rank, the Mapo Rift, the third day of the Rift, did not return. The second title disappears from the holographic marker. Head of Crown. The letters fade. Yuri continues. Second name, Park Soo-hyun, 20 years old, F rank, the fissure in Gangnam, fifth day, did not return. Third title, Captain of Black Halo, fades. Yuri reads the third name. Fourth, fifth. Cameras roll. 40 million are watching. Zhao's hologram loses line by line. Every title is a lie. Every name Yuri utters is the truth. Truth for a lie. A name for a title. A dead hunter for a stolen reward. Zihao screams. He grabs the silhouette by the legs. His hands pass right through. He crawls across the stage after a shadow that moves one step away from him, every step at a time. Yuri reads to the 20th name, the 30th, the 50th. Zihao's hollow mark is almost empty. Only rank remains. Only base units remain. The rest is erased. Sonho stops, turns to Zihao, and begins to erase the name. Not the title, the name. Letters on the hollow marker. L. The first letter fades. Zihao clutches his throat as if someone were tearing the word out of him. Y. The second. He falls onto his stomach. His body writhes. The stimulant burns in his veins. The skill burns in his head. The name burns on the hollow tag. C. The third. The audience in the stands begins to forget who is on stage. A woman in the second row turns to her husband. Who is that? I don't know. Some guy. Z. Fourth. Y. Fifth. X. Sixth. A. Seventh. O. Last. The name tag above Zihao's head is empty. No name, no titles, no history. The rank flashes. S plus. S, A, B, C, D, E, F. The stimulator burns out. The base units melt away. 150 million, 3 million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 100. Zihao. No, not Zihao. He no longer has a name. F-rank consumable number 7,400,221 lies on the stage and howls. Not from pain, from emptiness. He doesn't remember his name, doesn't remember where he lives, doesn't remember what he was doing 5 minutes ago. Next to him is a trophy. He doesn't remember whose it is. In the front row is his wife, Sonyo's ex-girlfriend, Park Min-ju. She looks at the man on stage and turns to her neighbor. Who is that? Why is he lying there? Her neighbor shrugs. Some F-rank, probably a janitor. Sonyo's mother is in the front row. She looks at the stage. Something hurts in her chest. Not her heart. Deeper. She doesn't understand why. She doesn't understand where this longing comes from. On stage lies a nameless man, and a faceless shadow stands. And between them is a cup. And there is something familiar about that cup. Something from another life. Yuri continues to read the names. 100, 150, 200. His voice is steady. It doesn't falter. A tablet in his hands. 312 names. Each one spoken. Each one heard by 40 million. Sonyo stands over the nameless body on stage. He speaks. For the first time in 28 days, in public, with a voice heard by 50,000 in the hall and 40 million on the air. The cameras pick analog signal. His voice passes through microphones not connected to the system. Ordinary microphones, wires and diaphragms, old technology. The system does not control the sound traveling through the copper wire. You took the place. I am taking it back. Nameless. Silence. The stadium holds its breath. No one knows who is speaking. No one sees a face. Only a silhouette. Only a voice. Only the symbol of the empty set above the head. Sonho places the cup at the feet of the nameless body, turns around, walks to the edge of the stage. The system registers a status change. Former A-rank hunter. Former head of the Crown Guild. Current status, F-rank expendable. Subject to standard disposal procedure. Destination, the nearest rift. D-system personnel in uniform appear at the stage. They take the nameless one by the arms. He does not resist. He does not remember why he should resist. They lead him away, into the rift. Standard procedure for an F rank with no name, no titles, no history. Disposable material, just like those 312 he sent himself. Yuri utters the last name, 312, from Hayun, 19 years old, E rank.
The rift in Makdan, 13th day.
She didn't come back. My sister. She turns off the microphone. Her hands are finally shaking. Silence in the stands. Long. Heavy. Then someone starts clapping. Slowly. One person. Then a second. A third. The applause grows. Not for Zihao. For the voice. For the 312 names. For the girl with the tablet who spoke the truth. 40 million viewers don't know what happened. They saw a man on stage lose his name. They saw the empty suits of the 12 bodyguards. They heard the voice and the list of the dead. They don't understand. Yet. But the recording exists. An analog signal, glass and light. The recording will circle the globe in an hour. Igyong in the control room saves copies to 7 independent servers. Sonho walks across the stage toward the exit. He passes the front row, past his mother. She doesn't see him. Her eyes glide over the empty seat, but her hand reaches out, involuntarily reaches out. Her fingers pass through the air next to his hand. She pulls her hand back. She looks at her fingers in confusion. Something happened. Something warm. She can't remember. Sonho doesn't stop. She doesn't turn around.
She keeps walking. She exits through the service entrance. Seoul at night. Day 28. 21 hours and 43 minutes. The reckoning is complete. Day 28. 22:00. 17 minutes after the reckoning. Sonho stands on the roof of the building across from the Gochok Sky Dome and watches as 50,000 people file out of the stadium. Ants. Frightened. Confused. Half don't remember why they came. The other half review the footage on their phones and can't believe their eyes. Rank badges over their heads. F ranks. C ranks. Rare Bs. A city of ordinary people in an extraordinary world. Chilsun, in Sonho's head, has been silent for 3 minutes. Then he speaks. She's here. Sonho doesn't ask who. He knows. He feels it. A vibration in the air of a different order. Not like Yiju. Not 10 billion. More. Deeper. Older. Like the rumble of a tectonic plate a second before an earthquake. Baek Sonim materializes on the stage of the empty stadium. She doesn't walk in. She doesn't fly in. She materializes. One moment, an empty stage. The next, a woman in white. Not tall. Age indeterminable. Her face is smooth as porcelain. Her eyes are black. Not like Yiju's. Yiju activated her ability and her eyes turned black. Sonam's eyes have been black since birth, or perhaps because of what replaced her birth 60 years ago on a planet that no longer exists. A name tag above her head, SSS. 3 letters, the only registered SSS rank on planet Earth. Base units, the system does not display them, just like Sonho. 2 beings on the planet for whom the system refuses to show numbers. The stadium cameras are recording a blank frame. The analog program Egeon shut down automatically after the broadcast ended. Digital cameras see an empty stage. Baek Sonim stands and looks into the lens of the nearest camera. Through the lens, through wires and satellites and servers, through thousands of kilometers of airwaves, straight into Sonho's eyes on the roof across the way. She sees him, through her skill, through the erasure, through absolute oblivion. The SSS rank former anchor of the 6th cycle sees what the system does not. She smiles,
subtly, like a person looking at a photograph from their youth. Chilsun speaks quickly in Sonho's mind, without malice, without boredom, with something resembles alarm. She sees you.
She is the only one on the planet who can. She was like you. She knows the mechanics, knows the weakness, knows the name.
Sonho is silent. He looks at the figure in white on the empty stage. A distance of 800 meters. Nothing for an SSS rank. Nothing for him. They can reach out to in a split second, and they both know it. Sonam raises his hand, not to attack, a gesture of greeting. His palm is open, his fingers are relaxed. She speaks. Her voice is soft, but Sonho hears every word from 800 meters away. Through concrete and glass and the night air, an SSS rank doesn't need microphones. Hello, Anchor. I used to be able to snap my fingers too. Sonho stands, a Chilsung can in his hand. He doesn't answer. Sonam lowers her hand. The smile doesn't fade. 60 years ago, on the planet the system called the fourth layer of the outer ring, she stood on the roof of a burning city and looked down, just like he is now. She was forgotten, just like him. She was invisible. She was all-powerful. She was alone. She didn't have a pear-shaped Chilsung. There were no cans on the parapet. There was no Yuri with a microphone and no Igyon with analog cameras. She was alone. And they broke her. The Council of the Sixth Cycle found a man who remembered her name. An old man. A teacher from her childhood. They brought him to the square before a crowd of 1 million, and he spoke her name. In full. Consciously. With love. And the bar went to zero. Everything went to zero. She became an ordinary girl in the midst of the apocalypse. And the system offered a deal. Power in exchange for service. She accepted. Because the alternative was death, she says. You liked it, snapping your fingers, wiping out those weaker than you, feeling how the world doesn't notice you and makes you stronger with every passing second. Sonho is silent. You liked it, she says. I liked it too. Pause. But it's a trap. The power of oblivion works as long as you're alone. As long as you have no one to talk to. As long as you're drinking your drink on the roof and counting the days. That's not freedom. It's a cage. You're the strongest being on the planet and you can't hug your mother. You can't say your own name. You can't exist. That's not a victory. It's another kind of defeat. Sonho places the jar on the ledge, slowly. He looks at it. The 13th jar. Chilson is silent in his head.
Sonam continues. I've come to offer you what was offered to me. The system wants you, not to destroy you, to hire you. You are Earth's anchor, the antibody, a weapon the system created by accident. One like this appears every cycle on every planet, and every time the system offers a choice, to break and serve or break and die. She takes a step forward, one step on the stage, 800 meters to Sonho. But this step causes the air between them to thicken, SSS rank pressure, the physical pressure of existence so great that the space around them warps. The windows in the building beneath Sonho shatter. The asphalt in the stadium parking lot is covered with a web of cracks. The hunter's head marks within a kilometer radius flicker and go dark for a second. All of Seoul feels it. I can say your name, says Sonam, right now, out loud, consciously, and you'll become who you used to be. Cha Sonho, F rank, 100 BE, a boy from the provinces with pear lemonade. She says it. Cha. The stack trembles. The multiplier flashes. Error within an error. System warning. Attention. An attempt to recognize the subject anchor has been detected. Multiplier reduction initiated. Sonho feels it like an electric shock down his spine. The first syllable of his name, and the stack is already losing percentage points. Not all of it, fractions of a percent, but he feels it. Like a force pulling from him drop by drop. Sonim smiles wider, pronounces the second syllable, sun.
The stack loses 1%. Billions of base units evaporate. System warning. Multiplier reduced by 1%. Current value. Display error. Chilson screams inside his head. For the first time ever, not dry, not sarcastic, he screams. Leave! Now! If she utters the third syllable, you'll lose 10%. If she finishes the name, reset, complete, irreversible. Sonho doesn't leave. He stands on the roof. A Chilson can on the railing. 13 cans. 28 days. 312 names. One mother who doesn't remember. One sister who sees a blurred silhouette. One analyst who found a hole in the data. One sarcastic god in his head. He looks at Sonho from 800 meters away and says, "Quiet." Exactly. Just as he said on stage 17 minutes ago. You broke because you were alone. Sonho falls silent. His mouth opens for the third syllable. Ho! He doesn't say it. He listens.
Sonho continues, I am not alone, and this isn't a cage, it's a choice. He turns around, his back to the SSS rank, his back to the most dangerous creature on the planet, his back to the woman who has his name on the tip of her tongue. He walks toward the fire escape. Sonho stands on stage. His mouth is closed. The third syllable remains unspoken. The stack stabilizes. Lost percentage begins to recover, slowly. Every viewer who rewatches the recording and cannot identify the silhouette adds to the multiplier. Every journalist who writes an article about the Phantom on stage and cannot name him adds to the multiplier. 40 million viewers, 40 million new attempts to remember, 40 million failures. The stack isn't just recovering, it's growing at an explosive rate, because now it's not 18 million former fans trying to remember Sonho, it's the whole world. The system before Sonho's eyes explodes with notifications. Multiplier, error, multiplier, error, overflow, error, rank, cannot display, base units, cannot display, everything cannot be displayed. Sonho descends the stairs, step by step, calmly. Sonho stands on stage and watches him go. The smile has vanished. In its place, something else. Something that hasn't been on that face in 60 years. Interest. Genuine interest. He didn't break. She uttered 2 syllables of his name, removed the stack percentage, showed she could reset him to 0 with a single word. And he turned his back, left, said he wasn't alone. Sonho lowers her head, whispers, "You are either the smartest anchor in 7 cycles or the dumbest." She disappears, just as she appeared, instantly. An empty stage, an empty stadium. The wind scatters confetti across the floor. Egeon in the control room shuts down the equipment. Her hands are shaking. She saw the SSS rank on the monitor. She saw the pressure readings that caused the monitors to reboot. She saw Sonho turn his back. She whispers into the void, "He made it. He didn't break." Yuri is sitting on the floor in the technical balcony. The tablet is nearby. The microphone is off. 312 names have been called. Hyun is in the 117th position. She speaks softly. "I did it, sister. I called your name." Night, the 28th day, 10 o'clock. Sonho is sitting on the new roof. 13 cans of Chilsung on the parapet of the old one. He didn't go after them. He'll start a new row. He opens a fresh can. Pear. Sweet. A taste from a childhood the whole world has forgotten. Chilsung speaks in his head. She'll come back. She's not the type to back down. Sonho knows. Sonho is not an enemy, not an ally. She is a mirror, a version of his future. In 60 years, he might become her, or destroy everything she stands for. Chilsung continues. The Council of 9 Crowns has lost 1 fragment. 8 remain. 8 planets. 8 watchers. They'll come for you. All of them. Sonho drinks Chilsung. A new day begins in the city below. The 29th.
The rifts are pulsing. Monsters are crawling out. Hunters are fighting. The world hasn't stopped. The world never stops. Only people stop. On phones across the planet, a recording from Gocheok Skydome. A silhouette on stage. An empty crowd overhead. A faceless voice. You took the seat. I'm taking it back. Nameless. 200 million views in 2 hours. 400 million by morning. 1 billion by evening. The whole world stares at the silhouette and tries to figure out who it is. The whole world tries to remember. The whole world can't. And with every attempt by each of the billion viewers, Sonho grows stronger. The multiplier grows endlessly, forever, until someone remembers, until his mother looks him in the eyes and says his name, until Beksonim finishes the 3rd syllable, until he himself decides it's time to stop being a ghost. But not today. Today, he's sitting on the roof drinking Chilsong Pear, the first can of the new batch. He sets it on the parapet. He looks at Seoul. He looks at the cracks in the sky. He looks at a world that doesn't know it's dying. 8 fragments, 8 watchers, 1 system, 1 anchor. Chilsong in his head says the last word. The 30th day, the day after tomorrow. You feel it. Sonho feels it. On the edge of perception, far away. Beyond the horizon, beyond the faults, beyond the system. Someone. Not the sleepers, not the council, not the monsters. Someone else. Someone who looks at Earth from the outside. Someone who remembers. Not Sonho. Remembers everyone. Every name. Every face. Every one of the 7 billion. The one who remembers. Chilsong speaks. He wakes up every 7 cycles. The last time he woke up, not even dust remained of the 6th planet.
Sonho finishes Chilsong's drink. He sets down the can, the second in a new row. He looks up at the sky. Somewhere beyond the cracks, beyond the violet light, beyond the faults and layers in the system, something enormous opens its eyes.